Welcome to Interlagos. Welcome to a new year of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, as we're going to have 50 of the world's best sim racing drivers go head-to-head for 12 grueling rounds. For those of you that have been with us all morning, welcome then to the highlight, the cornerstone of our coverage today. That is the first round of the World Championship Grand Prix Series. For those of you just joining us, you have missed two fantastic events with the launch of RaceSpot Race Day, and with that, the launch of the RaceSpotTV Formula Renault Sim Cup, as well as the RaceSpotTV Super Cup. I've still got Paul Smith and Cam Walsh here for the next few minutes to wrap things up. And well, Paul, what we saw were two very different races in some ways. Formula Renault had a lot of action early on, then it calmed down a little bit. And then we had ourselves what I can only classify as pandemonium in that RaceSpot Super Cup event.
Yeah, it was an absolute slugfest, was that Super Cup race, that's for sure. And but the Formula Renault still had some really good action involved in that one as well. So those guys put on a show for us. But I'll tell you what, that Porsche Super Cup race, that's going to take a lot to beat now, because that's really set the bar for the racing today.
Yeah, and Cam, if what we've seen is any indication, we basically are looking ourselves forward to an amazing Saturday worth of racing 12 times. And the next time we go out, it's to Sebring. Both the two support series and the main event, they are going to be very interesting to watch.
I have the giggles over just how great that those races were. It is absolutely sensational to watch. I love these build-ups, especially to when we've got a series like the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. I mean, this is going to be absolutely fantastic racing, and when you get your build-ups, your Formula Renault, you're seeing who's coming through the ranks, your Porsche Super Cup, and absolutely bangers of a race, rim to rim, door to door, awesome racing. I love to watch it with some of the very best in the business. And now we get to settle down. We get to the very, very serious business of these formula cars around this amazing circuit. It is just, it's a recipe for, I have to say, a very, very good 2017.
Going to ask you then, Paul, moment of race day. What was it for you?
Oh, good grief, there's so much to pick from. I will have to say that David Williams' daring attempt to go from the outside to the inside of the Senna S's, it almost worked for him. It just didn't quite hold on to carry the speed through there. So I've never seen a move like that before done in racing. So even though he didn't get the move completed, I would say it's the moment of the race, because it just set us up then for what was a great finish to the race.
What about you, Cam?
For me, I got to give out the defensive points. It was amazing defensive driving from Lando Norris and also from Mika. And it was just sensational to watch the defense from David Williams lap after lap after lap after lap. And finally, David was able to sneak by. But I got to say, just being able to defend whilst going fast is a skill unlike any other. And I have to say, these drivers are very, very aware. And to be able to do that without anybody really getting knocked off the racing surface, nobody getting put into the dirt or the wall, I have to say, always makes for a great day, and I hope to see these guys at Sebring.
Well, that was RaceSpot Race Day. Well, there still is RaceSpot Race Day, but there were the two support series there for RaceSpot Race Day. Now, it's time to introduce co-commentator for the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, Jonathan Simone. And I have to say, Johnny, if we are going to have that level of action in this race, we are in for a treat.
Yeah, definitely. That was great fun to watch those support races. Good to see the Formula Renaults out there as well around Interlagos. Always a perfect track car combo. The Porsches, though, they were overtaking spots at every turn this circuit, so I don't think that's going to happen in the McLaren, but they did try to make it happen almost in places I would be too afraid to in the World Championship car.
Yep, and there you can see the schedule up on your screen. Races start just after 2 p.m. GMT, but we kick it off today at Interlagos. Keep it in the Americas for the first 4 rounds of the championship. Then head ourselves over to Europe, dip back for a moment as we head ourselves to Indianapolis on August 5th. Then it's over to Japan, our one and only race in Asia this year, for round number 10. Finish off at Circuit of the Americas. Qualifying coming up in just a few moments' time here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacingLive. Stick it with us. Welcome to the 2017 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. It's time for qualifying for round number 1 of the 2017 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, and it's the first time that the teams, the drivers, give themselves the opportunity to see what they've got. Are we going to have a standout moment like we had last year with a new team and a new driver getting to the top of the timing sheet, or are we going to see a return of some familiar old faces? That is what is in store for us over the course of the next 10 minutes here on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacingLive. And here we are, Sao Paulo, 77 degrees air temp. Humidity's gone down since race day. It's down at 51%. And there we can see the wind speed of 11 kilometers an hour. Qualifying then is underway. There we are, 10 minutes remaining in terms of qualifications. And there we see just one driver's set of time so far. It is the driver of Peter Berriman, but we got Hooter on track, we got Cronke on track, Akala is on track as well. Let's go and have a look then at Mr. 5-time. He lost the championship last year, but Johnny, I think he's going to be back.
He definitely will be back, and everybody said he's lost it. I don't think he has. He hasn't lost any talent. Kroenke was just that much better in 2016. He improved his consistency, which we never thought could be done. I mean, he took consistency to a second level, so Gregor's got a bit of a challenge on his hands, and when I say a bit, it's much more than it really seems. You know, Martin is absolutely on the ball in this car. Right now, he goes to provisional pole, first man in the 1:09s in this qualifying split. And Alexei Usiakala drops behind as well, who won this race in 2015 for round 1.
Yep, Gregor Hutu past the start-finish line, looking for provisional pole position. Answer is second. Martin Kroenke leads the early going. Then you talk about that. Martin Kroenke is one of the only drivers to have himself, sorry, as I take a breath there, a time in the 1:09 so far. Now, let's see what everyone else can do. We've got ourselves split qualifying here today, Johnny, so that means we are going to lose some people over the course of qualifying to the race, and that is going to be interesting. Who can make the cut?
Yeah, definitely. You know, 35 drivers will make the final grid, as we know, out of the 50 World Championship licenses. All 50 out there today in qualifying, which is great to see. You know, we want to see full grids, surely with this shorter calendar too. Only 12 races in 2017, which we'll elaborate on after qualifying. Should help that a little bit as well. But here we go anyway. We're looking forward to what is a challenging qualifying session, because we know that Kroenke is a more consistent qualifier. Hutu's up and down, oscillates a lot. Here we go now. It's like a repeat of 2016. The order's not really changed that much as we look at these provisional times.
Not yet. Stephen Michaels, Vortex Sim Racing, onto a lap. He is one of those drivers, we talked about it in the Simone Racing report last week, that could very easily find himself up very high in the timing stands if he can get it all together. We've got a couple of new names, of course. The biggest one of those we're going to talk about is the one that we're looking at now. Bono House, P7. Mr. I'm going to win out at Vegas.
He did test a Formula E car the other week as well. So this guy has got some, he's had a big 2 months to his name. I mean, that's brilliant, you know, to see these sim racers earn these stripes in the real world. They don't just get it for fun. They don't get it because they won the lottery or anything. They got it based on their talent, and Bono is that talent, who right now is in P8. He will either begin a lap or cross the line. Remember, qualifying, you only really can fit in 2 quick hot laps. Bono crosses the lines. That's his final lap of qualifying, P4. And he will start no greater than P4.
Yep, we also saw Matt Backham move himself into provisional P8 here. Qualifying times, again, are very, very close. Got a couple of people who haven't yet turned a lap going on board of one of them. That is Paul Ilbrink in Radicals Online. They need a good season here. They've had changes in terms of management, structures, drivers. Paul Ilbrink, only P18 for him. Arguably, he would have wanted a bit more than that. Winner of this event 1 year ago, Yeni Tomala. Out of Yunsao he comes. And this is one driver who we have been waiting to see whether he can do the repeat of what he did last year. 109.957 is the time to beat as he works himself toward the start-finish line. And it's going to be 13th. Wow,
yeah,
not
only
that good.
P13. Yeah, not good. So that surprised me a lot. He really hugged the wall. I don't know if he made a mistake or not, but looking at his laps, he can fit in one more, which he's going to go out of the pits now as Ilkka Haapala, who has not set a time either, exits Yunsao. Now up the final straight on the throttle. Kilometers right, he go up to about 325 kilometers, now up to 330, so lots of straight line speed there for Ilkka Haapala. A 1 minute 10.7. And he's only 21st. He could not even make the grid. Yeah. So he's under pressure too there down the field.
As Hutu is out on track again. Martin Kroenke hasn't yet come out. He wants to know what he needs to do, but we're on board right now with Gregor Hutu. There you can see the gap is 0.123 right now. That's actually a pretty big gap when you consider how close grids customly are at this racetrack. He moves closer, but not to pole position. 24 1,000ths of a second back. It's not enough for Gregor Hutu. Now, what can Alexei Usiakala do? He is in the middle part of the racetrack right now. We go on board of him. Can he put Redline onto provisional pole position? It's starting to look, Johnny, that Coanda might literally be picking off where they left off last year.
Yeah, definitely, but we know that they had a poor race as Alexi gets loose and tail happy coming out of Yunsao, so that's where you need the most drive on this racetrack. That's one of the most important corners as Alexi Usiakala hugs the wall, DRS open, let's see his time.
Past the line he comes, up into third. 36 1,000ths of a second back. Now the times are closing down, but not enough to challenge Martin Kroenke. Kroenke looking as though he might only have to do one lap to secure himself pole position. Jamie Fluke right now moves up into 7th place. We're on board with Tormala, who's out for his second lap. Your top 15 drivers separated by just over 5 tenths of a second. Your top 3 drivers separated by less than half of a tenth of a second. As Joni Tormala then exiting, they're going to patter in just 1 moment's time. Here he comes. The run now down into Yunsao. Let's have a look at the speed chart for him. Just a mini lift. Now onto the brakes. Into Yunsao he will come. Up the hill for the final time. Kroenke has just gone back out on track. We'll keep an eye out on whether he will go even faster. But Joni Tormala then out of the final corner. That very fast left-hand flick. Can he improve? Yes, he can. Up to P number 9.
Yep, doesn't have the advantage he had last year. We know that last year drivers were still getting used to the McLaren. Not that Yoni wasn't fast at all, because he did end up top 5 in the championship and he did win 2 races. But at the same time, P9 disappointing for him. I think he expected more out of himself. But looking at these times right now, Kroenke, safe to say, it's a good option going out there. You never know. And your engineer on the radio can also tell you to just pull back into the pits if it's not worth the time.
Yep. Isaac Price, Core Sim Racing. We've got ourselves Core Sim Racing and Heisenberg Core Motorsport in this season. So we're going to try and not get them confused. Isaac Price in the Core Sim Racing car. That is the orange, black, and white machine. Isaac Price, of course, moving over from Inex last year. Riley Preston is out on track as well. A driver who can be very strong. Currently P number 11 in terms of qualifications. In fact, Riley Preston right now heading himself through Ferradura. And Riley Preston is one of those drivers. He can be fantastic. We expect to see him getting some top 10s this year, Johnny.
Yeah, on the right day, he can be very, very quick. So he's just going to nail it, stay out of trouble in the early laps. Isaac Price begins the lap right now. And, well, he's had a controversial 2016. It was part of a team that really revitalized themselves on victory lane. But now Price through turn number 3. Nice and simple, not too dramatic for him as he goes downhill. This is a downhill braking zone. Look for your brake marker and don't turn in too early because you start to clip that curb. What I've noticed at Interlagos lately is in the Williams, drivers seem to attack the curbs a little bit more. Doesn't work that well in the McLaren. And recently, drivers in the McLaren have sort of deviated away from that, and they've still achieved quicker lap times.
Yep, we saw Martin Kroenke come back onto pit road, so he won't go and set another time. The one he did is fast enough for him. Back on board with Isaac Price. Last lap time, well, of course, that was his out lap. His best lap is a 1:10.777. Isaac Price needs to move forward if he wants to give himself a shot at making the grid for this event. Up the hill he will come. Can he beat his 1:10.777? Can he go faster? The answer to that question is 1:10 up to P number 16. That's probably going to put him safe for the event. Riley Preston still out on track as well. The last driver on track for the time being. Up the hill he will come right now. As he is currently, say, in P number 11, working himself towards the stripe. Last time he set a lap, it was a 1:10.366. Past the start finish line he comes. Staying P number 11 for him, so nothing is going to be the case there for the driver of Riley Preston. That is everyone now done in terms of qualifications. Now, we need to reiterate the fact that these are provisional qualifying results because we have ourselves another 20 drivers who have qualified away from our screens. We'll give you the full grid in about 5 minutes' time. But what we can tell you is that Martin Kroenke is at the top of the timing stands once again.
Yep, definitely. Good stuff from Martin. I mean, I'm not even surprised. You know, the guy has worked on it. He's worked as hard as he can. He's put every single issue he had in 2015 about not having the pace, and he even improved his consistency on top of that. He's done everything. So right now he's carried it on to 2017. Good to see. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, last thing, before we wrap up, is that if all 23 drivers here make the grid, I mean, they're only separated by 8/10. It depends what the times are in the second split.
Yep, certainly. Gregor Hutu, second place in terms of this session, 24 1,000 was second back. Alexei Usiakola, third. Graham Carroll said at Autosport International he's here to win. Well, he is the first non-redline to climb the driver, P number 4 for him. Fantastic effort. Just 1.5 tenths per second back. Then it's Bono House and Freak Shawhorse there, P5 and P6, the two new drivers of Team Redline for the 2017 campaign. Then we got ourselves more Apex Racing UK with Jamie Fluke in 7th, Antoine Higelin in 8th, Yoni Tuan in 9th, and Ollie Pakula rounding out your top 10. There is the remainder of the results there up on your screen. And well, Johnny, a couple of people there I'm intrigued about. Radicals didn't really have a great day. Orion had a miserable day.
Oh, man. I mean, Ilkka Haapala, former race winner in this series, to be P21 in this split is, there's no words to explain that. So either he struggled with pace or he's just made a couple mistakes in qualifying. These sim races, though, their mindset is so into qualifying that I doubt they'd make mistakes. The only people that would make mistakes are the ones that are nervous, who haven't really raced a lot in the past 3-4 months, and the drivers who are only racing the World Championship. And I could explain this for about half an hour because there's so many different situations that could explain the situation. But, you know, it's one of the two. Haapala's either a little bit nervous, no pace, or he just made a couple of mistakes. So nothing big to look into. Yeah, Orion on the back foot here today. We do know that they can come through the field, however. So maybe they're focusing more on race pace. But there's a good chance that Ilkka Haapala might not actually make this event. And if he doesn't, that is going to be a sad, sad tale. So we're going to give you a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to have an onboard lap with the driver of Martin Kroenke. And also, we're going to tell you what your grid is for round number 1 of the 2017 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. But first, here's a look at what you've got to look forward to in the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing.
The NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series, powered by iRacing, is the premier NASCAR eSports series featuring the cars and tracks from the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. The 2016 campaign saw a return to the top of the mountain by Ray Alfalla as a 3-time NASCAR World Champion. The march to that championship was not easy, though, despite the fact that Ray Alfalla took home the most points in series history. It just also happened to be the tightest championship fight we had ever seen. These guys are set for the 2017 campaign, and as it has been for the 7 years prior, it is no longer going to be a straight shot to the championship. We are going to see the biggest change in this championship picture in series history, as for the first time ever, there will be a chase for the championship. We're going to go into the Homestead Miami Speedway at the end of the season with the 4 best oval sim racing drivers in the world absolutely tied in the championship. You just got to beat the other 3 guys out and you will become an official NASCAR champion. You're going to get yourself a NASCAR championship ring and, of course, $10,000. These are the iRacing eSport World Championships, the pinnacle of sim racing competition. You can catch it all season long, live coverage on iRacing.com/live.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to coverage of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Let's ride a lap on board then with the driver of Martin Kroenke. Show you how he got to the top of the mountain here today. What we can tell, Johnny, is that lap was what Kroenke is like at his very best. Smooth, calm, collected.
I mean, that's just brilliant right there to watch one of the world's greatest sim races. The way that car is set up is, you know, obviously you tailor it to how you like it. You know, some drivers think you need to tailor a car to go fast around the racetrack, but other drivers believe that the more comfortable the car is set up to your style, that's going to make you a little bit fast. Now, I saw a couple of moments where I felt like the car was on the ragged edge of grip, and I felt like Kroenke was about to lose the front end. So front end looked loose a couple times. That could be tire temperatures, could be something else involved, but apart from that, I mean, it's like he didn't even... Are we allowed to call him a robot or something? Because I don't know if you're allowed robots in the World Championship, but that's just carbon copy of a robot right there. That's brilliant.
It is. Just getting word in, by the way. The 35 driver is going to qualify. Paris Ramiak, who's going to be 110.914. 1/100th of a second is the difference between being in and being out here today. And that shows just how tight the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series can actually be, Johnny. Going to run through the full grid in just one moment's time. But 1/100th of a second, that is painful.
No, but that's life, you know, that's sim racing. You got to deal with it. This grid it's filtered. You have to earn your way into this series through the Pro Series. So you don't sign different drivers. One driver's not going to be 3 seconds off the pace. These are the 50 fastest drivers that iRacing could gather up for the World Championship. And if that means that there's only 7/10 between 50 drivers, well, that's the game. So head down and keep going if you didn't make the grid.
Yeah, so to run through your qualifying grid, we can't get it up on your screen yet, unfortunately. We'll have to do so, wait until the race to be able to do that. But to run through them, it is Martin Kroenke, pole position, 109.5957. Only 3 drivers got into the 1 minute 9. They were Martin Kroenke, Gregor Hutu in second, and Alexei Usiakola in third. Graham Carroll in P number 4. Fantastic qualifying effort by him. He said he's coming for race wins, and he's making a statement early. But a house there in P number 5. Michael Dinkel outside of row number 3. Then Freak Shawhorse in 7th place. Jamie Fluke in 8th, Antoine Heglin in 9th, and Yuta Saito in P number 10. Winner out last year, Yoni Tormala in 11th, Ollie Pakala, disappointing day in 12th for him. Riley Preston in 13th, Matt Backham in 14th, Patrick Holtzman 15th, Sembulik Bassi in 16th, Mo Garfilo, Pashas Gurgis in 18th, Martin Peter Taylor 19th, Isaac Price in 20th. Then Marcus Jensen, Marines Kolak, Peter Berryman, David Corpse, and Yao Vaz are P number 21 through 25. Remainder of the drivers that qualify: Ilka Harpala, Daniel Arndt-Wurzing, Kazuki Umeshima, Tomo Meglek, Stephen Michaels, Paul Ilbrink, Lucas Scott, Robin Friscops, Daniel Beda, and Balez Remniak works himself into the event. People who didn't qualify: Diego Oliveira, Kevin Ellis Jr., Alex Bergeron, Simon Guttel, Dion Verges, Jorge Montanez, Victor Prado, Fabrizio Gobbi, we've got Ficara, and also Fenric Kern. Talking this about the Simone Racing report, some of the Apex Academy drivers didn't qualify. When actually, I said, Johnny, they did need to really be hitting qualifying hard if they want to show that that Apex team has got the ability to stand on its own 2 feet.
Yeah, and look, I mean, to see these drivers not make the grid, a lot of them are Pro Series drivers, a lot of them still have to gain the experience. So as I said, it's not the end of the world. And I wasn't wrong before. When I looked at that first split, I wasn't really... I mean, we were concerned about guys like Hapala and the Orion team as well, Vaz in front and everybody else, whether or not they could make the grid. But then I thought, wait a sec, it's only 8/10 separating Kroenke from these guys. And we followed the split with basically the quicker of the 2 splits right there because of the drivers with the higher rating and higher I rating they've built over time. Going back to the front, though, can I switch some credit to a man named Michael Dinkel, who puts himself onto the 3rd row? This is a guy who struggled with qualifying basically, I'd say, his whole Grand Prix Series career. And he puts it in on the 3rd row in round 1. Yeah. Now, you can't really fluke laps in qualifying because you test it so much over the past 1 month or however long you've been testing. So that lap is genuine pace, and he's also quicker on race pace. That is a brilliant start for Apex Racing UK to put Graham Carroll in 4th, Michael Dinkel 6th, and they're splitting a few Redline drivers there, and UC Akala, Huss, and Shothorse there in 7th. And what about Jamie Fluke in 8th? I didn't even see him. Anton Higglin behind. I better look at this grid before I comment. This is amazing from Apex. Look how many Apex cars you got in the top 10. This is one of the best results they've ever had.
Yeah, and I will say one thing as well. For Apex, I always said that this had to be their season to do stuff. Based upon one qualifying session alone, they've moved themselves ahead of Inex.
I mean, that's just brilliant. I mean, the hard work, and we spoke about it before when we did our preview podcast, was this team's got an 8-car field right now for the season. If they can piece it together, they'll nail it. It's just about whether they can mesh and whether the chemistry goes in and whether or not everybody complements each other well. Like I know Patrick Holtzen starting in 15th. That guy's really quick, and I'm really looking forward to see where he can go in the race. Also, Mac Backham starts in front of him. Those are a couple of guys that obviously on different teams, but Holtzman can learn a lot from these teammates, and they can learn a lot from him. That team is really set up for success if they get it right.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget you can keep up to date all race long here on RaceSpotTV and on iRacingLive. Head to racespot.tv/live for live updates throughout the course of this event. Live timing and scoring is available on racespot.tv/timing. And of course, we're live on iRacingLive as well. And we're getting to that point then when we got to start thinking about who's going to win this one. And well, here's the interesting situation then, Johnny, because you have got Coanda out front, but he's not got any backup. So actually Redline and Apex, they're the people who's got the kind of shape and the numbers going together here. And actually, Cronke's going to have to run away early if he's going to win this one.
Yeah, no Mitchell de Jong to support him. He's generally the guy that is up there. And we know de Jong, who had pole here last year for round 1, they did suffer in race pace. That's not going to happen in 2017, obviously. They're used to the car. They know how to piece this McLaren together. It's just based on the start, I started there for a little bit just because you don't know. If Cronke sustains the start, I think he's got the pace. No question. It's going to be between himself and Hutu. Alexi's always quick, but sometimes he tends to drop off in terms of race pace if he doesn't find his rhythm. So it's definitely between those three at the top. If I had to pick one, I'd probably pick Cronke. But, I'm not trying to cop out here and give the easy answer, but I wouldn't be surprised if Hutu or UC Akala jumped ahead in the lead.
Yeah, I'm going to ask the same question to Rachel Whiteford, who's doing social media for us as well. Hopefully I'll get an answer from her in just one moment's time. But it is going to be very interesting. We're back to the same old, Coanda versus Redline, but Apex Racing UK are in the mix as well. Before we go to commercial, just wanted to show us one little graphic. And this shows you, in fact, we'll show it after the commercial. Rachel, who's going to win this event?
It's a tough call, Will, so we're going to have to see exactly who can do it, but Bono Huis is an unknown to the series, could be a big factor. Got to put the money, though, on Martin Cronke and Gregor Hutu. Always favourites, but last time we saw a big breakthrough for Jonny Domola. Could we see a first-time winner this time out?
Graham Carroll is the best place for that in P number 4. Bonner House is just behind him. So that is it then in terms of our pre-race coverage. But we just wanted to show you this one before we went to commercial. There are the winners. Only 15 drivers have ever won an iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series event. You see that Gregor Hutu has won 48% of all races today. Hugo Louise in second has now retired from the series. Actually, what you expect to maybe see this year is Martin Cronke moving himself up to second place in the all-time wins list. So, let's step aside for a few moments. When we come back, it's time for the first round of the 2017 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. It is here, it is live, it's on RaceSpotTV, and it is next. After the long winter and the thrills of the Pro Series of Road Racing, it's time for the big dogs to come out one more time as we welcome you to a new season of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. A series that started in 2010 that has only ever crowned 3 different world champions. It's been the pleasure to call Hugo Luis, to call Gregor Huttu, to call Martin Kroenke a world champion, and in 2017, are we going to get a new person adding themselves to one of the most illustrious lists in all of sim racing, or is it going to be a case of the same again? That is what we've got to look forward to over the course of this broadcast on RaceSpotTV, streaming live on iRacingLive. Will Vincent here, along with Jonathan Simone. Cameras done by Istvan Bala. We are here at Sao Paulo for 71 laps. And well, I'll tell you one thing, Johnny. Business has picked up. The wind has picked up.
It definitely has. I'm really looking forward to this. These drivers have not raced since the end of last season. Well, most of them anyway, who tend to be exclusive to the World Championship. And, I mean, the grid right now, not shaken up as much as I thought it would be, but a couple new faces up the order. Bono Haas and Freak Shotos starting 5th and 7th. We'll go through the full grid in a little moment's time. But, you know, this is the time to warm up now. Get used to the heavy fuel load. You've just finished qualifying. Can you get used to this heavy fuel load around the 4.3 kilometers of Interlagos in the short amount of time you have to warm up? All the braking points are different. Everything's a little more different.
Yep. And for those of you just joining us, this is what you've got to look forward to over the course of this season. 12 rounds make up the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. All of them starting at the same time. In 2 weeks' time, we head ourselves to Sebring. Then, fortnight after that, to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. 4 races in the Americas to start things off. Then we head ourselves to Europe, Monza, Silverstone, and Imola. Back to America for Indianapolis. Then Spa, Suzuka, Nürburgring, and Circuit of the Americas round out this series. And as we were talking about a moment ago as well, here are those who have won an event in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series before. 15 drivers have done that. However, the stats are obvious there. Gregor Huttu has won almost half the races. Combined, 3 drivers have basically won 70% of all races in history.
That's a good stat. Hey,
Yeah.
it's been minimized a little bit. Last year, Huttu was over the 50% mark of all time series races in history, but Kroenke had the most wins of his career in one season, had 9. And, I mean, that's the first time we've seen Huttu on the back foot pretty much since 2011. That was the last time we switched cars as well, which we spoke about endlessly in 2016. Anyway, back at Interlagos, new season, nothing to worry about. Gregor hasn't lost any talent. Best overtaking spots today as we watch drivers get so feisty. I've seen a lot of taps in qualifying. Best overtaking spots into turn 1. We know the downhill braking zone into the center S, and then turn number 4.
Yep, grid up on your screen. Martin Kroenke then will be coming first into turn number 1 here at Interlagos. Gregor Huttu alongside him. Front row of the grid. Alexei Yakola in 3rd. Graham Carroll in P number 4 for Apex Racing UK. Head on back. We've got Bono Haas there in the number 11 Team Redline machine making his series debut. Michael Dinkel, Apex Racing UK, another Apex driver inside the top 3 rows of the grid. Then Frick Shawhorst there in P number 7. Jamie Fluke in 8th place. 9th goes to Antoine Hegler and Yuta Saito in the 10th position. Last year's winner, Gini Tomala, in P number 11. Ollie Pakala makes it an all-finish row number 6. We cycle it on back, and well, this field here today, we are really looking forward to seeing it. 35 drivers coming around this racetrack, and it's all going to be about surviving turn number 1, Johnny.
Well, I mean, for 35 guys to scream into a downhill braking zone, first time this season. Now, not a lot of these drivers have been have maybe raced in a grid that big. Those who have been in endurance races, certainly so. But I'm not going to say you're timid in those races, but you're less aggressive. So here in the World Championship, you can gain a lot of positions into turn 1. Whether you attack around the outside or the inside is pretty much based on what you see in front. It's down to a science as well. But trail braking is so important. Those who can brake and turn in at the same time without locking any of the front left or front right tires, weirdly, can really get the job done.
And that was your grid up on your screen. 26 seconds remaining, and everyone's seeing that whole thing of coming on towards pit road just to get a check. Make sure everything is all good in their racing machine as they come now to get focused for the start of this event. Don't forget, live timing and scoring will be available all race long on RaceSpot.tv/timing. Live updates, RaceSpot.tv/live as well. Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, do it all. Say hallelujah. It's time to go racing in the World Championship Grand Prix Series again. Practice is over. The talking, for the drivers at the very least, stops now. And that's it. It's now time to get yourself onto the starting grid. Get yourself ready for what will be a 12-race season in the 2017 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. A shorter season means that you can't make any mistakes anymore. It's all about consistency, and Mr. Consistency is on the front row of the grid. But can he go lights to flag and win this race and get himself ready for maybe his second ever World Championship victory? What can Gregor Hutu do in second place? Alexei Usiakola, of course, is going to be in the third position. What about Graham Carroll in that fourth place? He has got the speed. We are ready to go racing. Let's get those engines revving. And let's welcome in a new season then. Lights go out. We are away. Down in towards turn number 1. The guys will come for the first time. Good start by Kroenke. Hutu thinks about going down to the inside. Doesn't get the jump yet. Do they all survive turn number 1? No. We've got a car turned around. It's an Orion Racing Team car, and that's caused pandemonium. We've got an Apex Racing UK driver out as well, Johnny.
Yeah, that's Riley Preston again. Another first lap incident for Riley, and it just seems to be a comical amount of incidents for him right now.
There is Riley Preston at the very back of the field. As a consequence, it is worth noting Martin Kroenke does lead as they come up the hill for the first time. Alexei Usiakola is in third place. In fact, your top 5 drivers, top 6 drivers are as they qualified right now. So no real changes. But to go back to the start of this one then, Johnny, Riley Preston involved in an incident. It's not the first time we've seen him done it, but there were 2 separate incidents down in towards turn number 1.
Yeah, it gets so congested, you bottleneck as well. And a lot of guys rocketed off the line too, so that really deviates things a lot. But, you know, for Riley anyway, I think he just kept it calm, and he's got caught up again. Not much else you can say there, but at the front anyway, a good start for Kroenke, exactly what he needed. He's got to break away from DRS zone because Hutu's all over the back of the Coanda SimSport driver.
There is Hutu right now in second place. We'll have a look on board of him as they work through the center S, down now through Curva de Sol. And the thing that we've seen is that turn 4 can be a fantastic overtaking opportunity. You notice behind, you've got 2 of the Radical. Actually, no, I'll take that back. That is 2 of the red line cars going pretty much nose to tail there. That's Rick Shawhorse and Ollie Pakula. Ollie Pakula, of course, one of those drivers famous now for running in virtual reality, Johnny.
Yeah, it could scare him if he gets into an incident. It's not something he wants to do here in the opening laps, obviously, to start the season. But Freak, not a good start. Some of the Apex cars there are Fluke and Higgling got off the line quite well. Now, remember the start at Interlagos, it's downhill for some drivers, uphill for others. So, depending on traction, those first 4 or 5 rows really congest into each other. And that really... I mean, luckily today, all these guys, they're skilled enough not to get into incidents in the top 10. But yeah, Shotos, pretty bad start, drops from 7th to 9th.
It is. Get social with us on Facebook and Twitter. Let us know your thoughts about round number 1 of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. On board then with the winner last year, who's lost himself a position, as Marty Piatella and Yuta Saito also switched places then. That's down P13, P14 into the center S. Those 2 drivers will come once again. It's a little bit of movement, not too much at the start of this event, but these drivers now going to get it settled down. As you see there, Freak Shawhorse now trying to make a move on Antoine Hegelin, trying to recover from what was not the best of starts. And Freak moves himself up a position, but goes wide on the exit of the corner. Almost there, taking both drivers out. And they're going to go side by side into Ferradura. Can Antoine Hegelin hold it on the outside? The answer is no. He will have to finally relinquish that position.
Yeah, but he looked up the inside there, slight peek just to keep Freak on his feet as well. So good stuff from Anton. I'm impressed with this start to the race. You know, despite not having the pace, he did jump up 2 positions. Freak maybe a little bit faster. Now he's got to defend from Olli Pakala, who we know is insanely quick. So Hegelin here could lose another position. Depending on his run out of Yunsao, he just needs to apply the throttle smoothly, not too many twitches. Seems to be the same between the two. Let's see if Olli can get it done.
Yeah. So Hegelin doesn't really have much return. Actually, it's starting to make me think maybe, in terms of strategy, some of the red line guys are mixing it up at the start of this one. Bono House there over Graham Carroll through turns number 1, 2, and 3, the center S curve of the soul. Both of these drivers are ones that we say have to make a statement this year. We know Graham Carroll says, I am going to make a statement. Bono House, I said, give him 3 rounds, he's got to be on the podium. And well, both of them so far inside the top 5. That's the sort of stuff both of them are going to be satisfied with, but they both want so much more.
Yeah, I mean, you say satisfied, but even round 1, I don't think they will be that much. You know, it's a good result to get your feet wet and start the season, but in terms of their expectations, these guys want to win. And then they're going to expect nothing less than a race win this season. They obviously want to be future world champions. Bono has more pressure, I'd say, than Graham. We know that Apex haven't won a race in the series yet. So Bono right now behind Graham. Graham's out of DRS zone from the top 3, and this could cost Bono dear amounts of time. We know Bono's not the strongest qualifier as we saw in the Pro Series. So whether or not he has the race pace to win is another question, and we're not going to find out until he gets past Graham.
Yeah, indeed. So it's worth noting, by the way, that Olli Pakala also moved himself past Antoine Hegelin. So the early race pace might not actually be there for the Apex Racing UK drivers, as we now go on board with the driver on Mac Backham. Backham is one of those drivers who is loved and revered by so many because he is so on it. The last time he was in the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, basically, most of the times he finished inside the top 10, had that one disastrous round at Suzuka involving Hugo Louise as well, which gave him a 1 race ban. But apart from that, Backham is a driver who is always going to excite. Currently in P number 11, looking to get inside the top 10, and I am going to keep an eye out on this early race pace for the Apex Racing UK driver, because some of them have started to fall back a little bit in this event, but the 2 drivers really worth thinking about. In terms of Graham Carroll and Michael Dinkel, they are holding their own right now with the legendary Bono House.
Yeah, well, you call him legendary. He's still going to earn his status in this series. So,
well, yeah.
We'll see what happens to him. He is definitely legendary in the sim racing world. But you talked about Mac Backham before. Regardless of what he does on track, that guy is a great human being, great personality. I mean, someone I'd want to add to the team any day of the week. And in terms of making passing moves, let's see if he can get it done on Fluke. Fluke had DRS, though. So as they go up to... Oh, is that a spinner in front? Oh, Jesus. Was that Jamie Fluke who lost it? No, Anton Hegelin, excuse me, sorry. What am I saying? Yeah. Anton Hegelin down behind, loses 2 positions, locked up the rears, saves the car, and now he's on the attack.
Yeah, but we've got side by side. We've had it for a moment there between Bono House and Graham Carroll. Bono will move himself up. They were side by side for the first part of that lap. They almost made contact twice, but this is fantastic racing. So, automatically tick off. Can Bono House go toe-to-toe in the World Championship Grand Prix Series? Oh, yes, he can. Can Graham Carroll hold his own and really hold off attacks? Well, he did lose a position in the end, but he held on for a full third of the lap at the start of this one. Graham Carroll there, now down into P number 5. That one, though, does deserve a bit of a replay on board with Graham Carroll, because they were literally side by side, almost making contact a good number of times.
Yeah, so great move there. That's brilliant racing. I mean, you talk about 2 of the best sim racers in the world going at it. And we're not to expect anything different from these 2. Now, while that happened, Backham and Hegelin, after Hegelin's half spin, tried to recollect himself, and they both collided. And we'll hopefully catch that one soon, because I'm not sure who was... I don't know. We always search for people to blame for an incident. I think we just want to watch what happened and how we can improve on avoiding it.
Yeah, as we'll see there, we've got ourselves VRS co-anda SimSports, Mac Backham, Martin Piatella now Linus Stern, P number 11, P number 12. Antoine Hegelin is on pit road, so not a good day for him. Started off this race so well, but now on pit road, pretty much going to be determined as out of this event. Riley Preston as well, by the way, had himself another issue by the looks of it. He's all the way now down in P number 30. Let's go back to the front of your field. And let's show you the graphic. DRS is still in play now for Gregor Hutu versus Martin Kroenke. Kroenke realistically needs to get that gap over 1 second, because we know that Hutu's hallmark is going to be in about 20 laps time. When you get down to that kind of second, third of a fuel run, that's when Hutu generally is a bit better than Martin Kroenke. But Kroenke still got a 7/10 of a second gap. Hutu can't close up too much, but Kroenke does need to put the hammer down.
Yeah, and what I love about this battle is that Alexei Usiakla is right up there, a guy I'm always rooting for. Hopefully he finds his rhythm again, because he's a guy who I think has the potential to be a world champion if he can just avoid sort of spinning out of races and making those silly mistakes. Right behind, no freak shot toss, very close to Michael Dinkel for 6. I'm very impressed by these Apex cars of Carroll and Dinkel, because compared to the rest of the team, they've maintained the pace. But Dinkel's starting to struggle, and here's shot toss, maybe into Ferradura up the inside. That's going to be brave.
And he's going to make it work. What a move there, but the guys stay side by side for the moment there. Dinkel outside line, but Freak will have no big tail slapper for him, and he has to concede the place. But he did just about keep it pointing in the right direction. Let's get a second look of that on board with him, because that, again, was some fantastic racing. We go on board then from the exit of turn number 4, and then you just see he closes up, gets a fantastic toe on the run into Ferradura, fakes it left, goes down the inside right. Good run there, but then he just loses traction through turn number 8.
And that's brought Olli Pakala back into the fight. So that time that they lost going through Ferradura, a few tenths, which has given Carroll some breathing space. Regardless of that, shot horse goes for the outside line into the center S, and he's got all the speed. Can he maintain the line into the first corner? He has the grip there, so brilliant stuff from Freak shot horse. Smart move. You'd expect him to go up the inside, but I think he forced Dinkel onto a line he really hasn't taken all race, and that can really drop your confidence when you go there.
Although, are we going to see another attack from Michael Dinkel? No, not yet. Now, Dinkel is in a red line sandwich. Olli Pakala is hunting down in P number 8. Ahead, by the way, these drivers have lost about 2 seconds to Graham Carroll. This is when you have to start thinking big picture, whether or not it's just worth allowing someone to go past, because losing 2 seconds in a race like this can be catastrophic. And by the way, Bono House has pulled out 1.2 second advantage over the driver of Graham Carroll in the last 2.5 laps.
Yeah, Apex is struggling, so I think that's confirmed right now. Maybe these Carroll and Dinkel sort of took an extra few laps to show their struggles, but it could either be tyre wear or just the way the car's set up. It's not really set up well when the fuel goes down. Who knows? I mean, we're coming to conclusions this early, and it depends what happens for the rest of the race. But right now in the early stints, Apex are dropping down the order like flies. And Shot Horse, very quick this time around, crosses the line, and he sets a 1 minute 14.4. So 1/10 slower that time compared to Graham Carroll. But remember, he did have to go around the outside of Dinkel into turn 1.
Paul Ilbrink versus Peter Berryman. They swapped places a moment ago. Berryman's now going to try and go down the inside into the center S. Who's going to win this? Oh, upside down then. Hard into the wall is Peter Berryman. Well, that's not what you want to have happen, Johnny.
No, definitely not. I mean, that's a serious incident right there. Ilbrink around the outside, not really sure what happened there. Oh, Ilbrink just lost it, so that's exactly what happened. It was hard to see just because of the fact that you're looking right into the corner, and Ilbrink's trying to maintain his line, not trying to collect Berryman, and then you realize that you have to obviously balance the throttle too with your right foot, so much goes on for these drivers under pressure. Obviously, Paul Ilbrink to blame for that one.
Yep, back up through the field then. Let's keep our eye out on this freeway battle for your race lead. You've got yourself Martin Kroenke, Gregor Hutu, Alexei Usiakla. Let's show you your top 8 down at the bottom of your screen right now. And you know the fact that the top 3 have pulled out about a 4-second advantage over the driver sitting in 4th. That is Bono House. However, Graham Carroll still runs himself in P number 5 after losing that early advantage. And you can see he has now been caught up dramatically by Freak Short Horse and the train with him, Michael Dinkel, and Olli Pakala. So, we don't want to speculate too much, but remember last year, Radicals had themselves some issues with just getting the entire race done together. It seems to be the first stage of the event is working okay for Apex, but whether it is something like an ERS issue, or maybe they're going to come back a little bit later on into the run, and it's just that kind of early to mid window that they struggled on.
We'll see anyway. It's hard to tell this early. We haven't had too much data, no preseason testing sessions or anything for us to gather scouting reports on. So this is just purely based on speculation and any sort of estimations we make here from the booth. But talking about radicals anyway, Cembulik Bassi, rookie to the series, very good talent, 13th in the first race, and he's right behind this mad scrambler driver. So they're all in this train behind Jamie Fluke, who had a ripper of a Pro Series, Jamie Fluke, and he's well deserved to be right up there in P9 right now. But yeah, look, at the moment anyway, I don't think it's too big of a deal. They're not losing 1 second a lap, which is a good thing. They're only losing maybe 1-2 tenths, which is, I don't think it's a dramatic ERS issue.
It's not, and it's something they can work on over the course of the season as well. Martin Piatella versus Yoni Tomala there. Both of them have got DRS open from Jamie Fluke, who's leading that train right now. Yoni, you can see, running in P number 10, but 6 tenths of a second behind that driver of Jamie Fluke. And what we're starting to see then is a little bit of a DRS train evolving when neither of them can really make a pass over the other. Ollie Packard has fallen also a little bit off the back of Michael Dinkel. He's now 8 tenths of a second behind him. Just a little small moment there for Ollie Packard, but he needs to keep that momentum going. If he falls out of DRS, he really is going to start struggling.
You're going to use the M word again, momentum? We didn't think we were going to use him again. Yeah, don't start it. Ollie Packard, though, as you mentioned, he's lost more time coming out of Yun Sao. So either it's a rhythm issue or he's just losing a bit of pace right now. Remember last year we were unsure whether drivers were going to 2-stop or 1-stop. A lot of teams like to keep that data and a strategy to themselves. I don't think many teams are going to 2-stop this round, but if you're going to be stuck in traffic, you can give it a shot. So you lose about 21 seconds in the pit lane with a pit stop too, so whether it's worth it or not, it's these engineers who are in the ears of these drivers going to be calculating their minds away.
Yep, on board then with Yoni Tomala. He's just been passed. Here's a look then at that one as Marty Piatella dove down to the inside, was able to get the move done into the center rest, but actually Piatella was a little bit naughty. He didn't hug that inside curve the way he should have. You see, he just pushed the driver of Tomala wide enough that he lost himself a couple of tenths of a second. Wasn't enough to allow Matt Backham to go past, however. This is a battle for the last step inside of your top 10. Backham is now going to be on the attack this lap, and actually these two commander drivers can potentially use that draft and work together to try and distract the driver of Tomala. Although, saying that, it's very hard to distract that number 8 machine.
Yeah, you try so much to do everything you explained, but basically most of these drivers are just going to be like, hey, let's just drive. Let's just try and pass him. Forget these tactics of doing a Massa, let Alonso pass Massa and Webber into one corner or something like that, as we saw here at Interlagos. Mack has got a look here on Tomala. He broke really, really early. So Backham there was very conservative. I think he wants to set up the move into turn 4. He broke about 20 meters earlier than he normally does from his normal braking point. And he's just, whether or not he gets the run here with DRS, Tomala has DRS to defend too. Backham up the inside. Now remember, he had the incident there with Higgelin before, so he's a bit conservative going up the inside.
This is a more conservative Matt Backham that we are seeing here, actually. You know, compared to the last time he was in the series, he would have made that pass, or at least have attempted to make that pass by now. But twice, he set him up and realised, no, actually, I'm not going to get my full car alongside. I'm not going to risk it. I like this from Backham a lot.
Is it a better Mac Backham, though, being a conservative Mac Backham?
Long-term, yes. Long-term, yes.
Long-term, yeah, you're right. I think if you just let a driver be who he wants to be, and if he figures things out for himself, so if Backham wants to be the driver that makes poised overtakes and he has that flair and drivers are scared of, you know, when they're right behind him, then if that's who he wants to be, let him be who he wants to be. But if it's for the long term, it's better for him to be conservative. Then that's hopefully what we see. Is he has another attempt here, goes for the outside line, which could work.
Into turn number 1. He brakes early again, actually. That Coanda car is braking a lot early into the corners than Mr. Last late breakers. Yoni Tomala for the moment on the exit of Curve de Sol. He's not going to be close enough to really get a run. So we'll move away from that battle for the moment. We move up your field a little bit to the battle for P number 5. Graham Carroll and Freak Shawhorse. 2.5 tenths of a second separating these drivers. Juta Saito also loses a position to the driver of Yao Vaz.
Yeah, so Saito is not going to make the pass into Ferradura, but Shot Horse there can't get past Carroll the same way Bono did. Now, Bono's actually made up 3.5 seconds on Graham since his move, but he hasn't been able to keep up with the top 3. So that explained the question I opened up before, whether Bono had the pace for the top 3. He doesn't, but he's in clean air, so he's only 4.3 seconds away. The race isn't over, but maybe Bono will make the pit stop. He'll start to get back into rhythm, and things will go his way. Speaking about the lead, which we haven't looked at in a few laps, Gregor Hutu's out of DRS zone.
Yeah, it's up to 1.5 seconds. It's literally like they heard what we were saying about them and just said the word push, because all of a sudden they really, that commander car has eked out the advantage. To show you your movers and shakers of the event so far, note that Olli Pakila and Marta Piatella are by far your biggest movers inside of the top 10. Marta Piatella is up 9 spots right now, and he's right behind the driver of Jamie Fluke, who runs in that 9th place in that number 9 car. But behind, you see, that's where it gets a bit more chaotic. Lucas Gotch, by the way, up 15 spaces in that MSP driver's home machine. So fantastic start to his World Championship campaign.
Yeah, and I like the color of that MSP driver's car, so that's a nice livery they got there this season. Lucas Gotch, very underrated driver. I think he gets overlooked quite a lot. He's definitely not quick to the point where he's going to win World Championship races, at least this season, but he's a guy I think doesn't get the praise he deserves, and he's consistent, he knows his stuff, he's occasionally spikes up some good performances. But can I go back to Mac Backham for 2 seconds?
Okay.
When he's trying to pass Formula, I don't think it's like a car issue in the Quanta Supersport car. He's just not confident under braking because he's so stable going into turn 1. Obviously now he's half a second back, so he's not going to attempt. Well, it's Mac Backham. He could attempt an overtake. You never know. But regardless of that, the car's too stable. I just think he's too hesitant. I think the incident with Higgins got into his head. Someone needs to coach him and just say, forget about it. You need to have a short-term memory.
Yeah. And as you said before, you know, just be who you are. I mean, yes, there's a difference between coaching and redefining your driving style. For a driver like Matt Backham, actually, it is just a little bit of coaching, I'd say, more than redefinement, because Backham really has got that pure pace. Another driver looking to show that he has got a lot of pure pace is the one in P number 6. That is Freak Shorehorse. Although the driver ahead of him, Graham Carroll, doing a sterling job. He has fallen back in the last 10 laps quite a bit in terms of time from your race leaders. He's now over 10 seconds behind your race leader is Graham Carroll, but still holding his own there in terms of that 5th position as they come up the hill one more time. So heading towards turn number 1 again. This is now lap 18 of 71 in the first round of the 2017 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. We're on board now with the driver of Alexei Yusiakola, who is just trying to hunt down his teammate there of Gregor Hutu. I have to say, I do like the new kind of liveries that Team Redline has brought out for 2017. We didn't get too much data on what the car is going to look like until recently, Johnny, but they do look fantastic.
Yeah, hardly any team really released anything, any type of data strategy, what they eat for breakfast until basically this morning. So teams very trying to hide everything in a way, and obviously that's part of being competitive. I like Alexei's livery though, and it's a little bit blue. I think, look, it's like half of what Gregor Hutu's livery is. I think he's half taking over the reins from our 5-time world champion. Are we looking into this that far? Right now though, Hutu, who is identical lap times to Kroenke last time around. Alexei was 1/10 faster than the pair. This time around, Kroenke will cross the line 14.0. Hutu sets a 14.2, and Alexei behind 14.1. So these three are just trading times basically within the 2/3/10th range of each other.
Yeah, having a look back, by the way, Matt Backham really has now fallen off the back of Yoni Tormana. In fact, now Sam Bullock-Bassi is right on the rear of the number 4 machine. Bullock-Bassi doing a sterling job there in the Radicals Online team. I did say after qualifying I was a little bit worried about what is going to be the fate of Radicals Online this year. But Bullock-Bassi, sterling job so far in P13. Doesn't get the DRS open quickly enough though. You see, he lost about 4 clicks in a straight line as ahead of them, side by side. And that is going to be the driver of Tomalak versus Jamie Fluke.
Yep, so Tormala couldn't make his way past. Had a peek, though. You got to get Fluke nervous, the rookie in this series, who's having a stelling race. so far on lap 19 to 71. So it's not done, Jamie. Keep getting it there. Keep pounding away. Keep pounding the rock. As Bullock Bussy, though, behind. Going back to him. You know, he wants to be Turkey's first ever Formula 1 driver. I think that's his goal, not his dream. So it's good experience here in the World Championship. I don't think people understand that sim racing really, not just for motor racing, but just in the real world, the amount of, the way it teaches you to deal with pressure and deal with criticism and to ignore the criticism that's not constructive and et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I'm not trying to be a life coach, but it's so much, and it's good for Chem right now if he wants to go into Formula 1 in the future, if he's talented enough, and has the budget, as we have a move at turn 1, he could get it done. Here's Tormala straight past.
Yeah, we were just having a look there as well. Ollie Pakula versus Michael Dinkel. So we've got a couple of things then we want to re-show you. The first one is this one in towards turn number 1. Look at that then, side by side between one of the Apex drivers there, Dinkel, and the driver Ollie Pakula. Then you'll notice, we'll get yourself a second look at that one. That was a bit of a wiggle at the end of it, actually, for Joni Tormala, but we'll have it now on board of him. And he was a good 4 car lengths back as they worked through the final corner. But then that NX Racing car, we always talk about how fast they are in a straight line historically. Bam, down to the inside. Thank you very much. I am going to move myself up 1 position, is what we just saw the number 8 machine do. Out front, Kroenke versus Hutu, up to 2.1 seconds.
Yeah, we'll see what happens when they pit, though. I mean, this could change the race quite a lot. I knew that Kroenke, once he gets it, I think he gets better as he keeps driving. He's not someone that in the first 5 laps will tear people apart. It's just more, the longer you let him go unscathed, the faster he's going to get. So it's like you're dying slowly. It's the worst way to lose a race now for Gregor. The good thing is, he's got 50 laps to make up for it. And that's why I'm trying to think here. If he goes for an early undercut, he's going to pretty much lose the rest of the stint if he doesn't get past Martin. Do you get what I mean there? So if he tries to gain the 3 seconds, but then Kroenke comes out of the pits by 2 tenths in front, Kroenke's going to have maybe 5 laps fresher rubber on Gregor, and that's an extra 2-3 tenths a lap for the rest of the second stint. He's pretty much race over right now. So engineers there at Redline probably going to scratch their heads and come up with something if Gregor doesn't have the pace.
Isaac Price runs himself in P number 15 right now. Marin S. Kolak just 2 tenths of a second ahead. Then you've got yourself Patrick Holtman there in that train as well. Haven't really talked much about Holtman. Of course, changed teams. He is now a part of the Apex Racing UK stable after being at Thrustmaster Movano last season. Lucas Scotch, we talked about him already, P17 in the MSP driver's home car. But that's a nice little train, a nice little battles there developing between these drivers in the first round of the championship. Bullet Bassy's getting himself a good run this time by over Matt Backham, but again, losing out in a straight line is that Radicals car.
Yeah, maybe they just don't have the pace in the setup. Backham, though, is conservative under braking. If you're a smart driver, and Chem is, you'd know to, as soon as the doors open, go up the inside. And that's what you're going to do right here. He's got a good chance at turn 4, but yeah, no straight line speed. I don't know whether Coanda's fast in a straight line or Radicals is slow. It's so difficult.
I saw 187 there for Chem in that number 12 Radicals Online machine, but that's the thing for Backham, is he has got the DRS open on his car as well, because he's still within a second of Jamie Fluke. But in terms of DRS wars, that doesn't seem to be helping. In fact, it seems to be hindering that Radicals Online team, unless, and I want to have a look, maybe Chem has got some issues with his DRS, so we'll need to have a look the next time they come past the start-finish line, just to have a little bit of a peek there on that number 12 Radicals Online machine. But worth noting that Alexei Usiakola is right still with Gregor Hutu, and we have got word, by the way, coming through that Chem has got a bent front wing, but that won't really hurt you that much in terms of straight line speed. And let's have a look. Yep, the DRS flap does go open on Bullet Bassy's car, but he does continue to lose. It's about 3 car lengths he loses in each straightaway. But a bent front wing for him, you know, I would have thought that was hurting more in the corners than it would do in a straight line. And he seems to have good cornering pace still.
No, well, it really depends sometimes. It can hurt you on the straight. He is losing, I mean, it's getting worse and worse now, I think. He's losing 5 kilometers an hour on the main straight. So that's the straight from Yunsao all the way to turn 1, the center S. But, well, unless they repair it in the pit stops, and whether that costs him time too, is it worth the maybe 3 seconds you lose in the pit stop?
Yes.
Or, which I think it is, obviously, yeah, you agree with me, or do you not repair it? I think we answered that question before I even asked it. Good job.
A few seconds in the pit stop to replace front wing. That's, let's say 4 seconds. Or if you're losing 2-3 tenths of a second, you know, it's simple maths. You gain that time back in 10-11 laps. Well, so Freak Short Horse versus Graham Carroll, by the way, it's kind of stagnated a little bit. It's a nice way of saying it. You can see there that 208 miles an hour, though, Freak was doing in towards that first corner. That's astonishing speed.
Yeah, good speed, whatever that is in kilometers an hour. I don't like how you Brits use the imperial system. You guys got to get with the metrics.
Divide by 5, multiply by 8.
I'll do that in my head.
Yeah, okay.
2 hours or something. Shot horse, though, into turn 4. Right now, the Skidder Interlagos. I love that corner because when you get it right, it's one of the sweetest things in sim racing. But I'll tell you what, when you get it wrong, you feel like you want to throw your wheel off the desk. You want to kick up a storm and everything. It's just such a... you love the corner when you get it right, but you hate it when you don't. That's the best way to explain it because the exit sort of cuts in on you. It doesn't open up. And it's downhill too. So easy to get wrong. Here they come towards turn number 12. And if iRacing gets some wet weather in the future, this is going to be a corner that catches drivers out in the future.
It is. I was just having a look, by the way, at this continued battle. Short Horse much closer now to Graham Carroll than he has been the previous couple of laps. Let's have a look at the speed charts then for both of them. Up to 207 miles an hour again. It's about a 6 mile an hour difference DRS is providing Short Horse over Carroll, but it just seems to be out of Yunsao. Carroll's getting the better run for the time being, although this time they are going to be close on the exit of Curva de Sol as well. Will this allow the 22 a chance to get close? Not anywhere near close enough, really, Johnny.
No, not really. He didn't get the run out of the center S, which is the most important part of making a pass into turn 4. Generally, the pass into turn 4 happens at Yunsao. If you get the run there, you force the driver offline, which is what Freak did. It's just the run out of the center S, as I said, was not good, so he's got to improve on that. What I do like from Freak this round is that he hasn't gotten himself into trouble. He's shown his full, well, not his full potential, but he's shown some good potential. And that's what we want to see. We don't want to see him get into these silly incidents like a lot of drivers have when they come into the series.
Just saw Stephen Michaels there passing Yuta Saito, moving himself up into P number 19 for the time being. Isaac Price, Patrick Holtzman, they continue to scrap. Isaac Price there in the core sim racing car. It's worth noting there are 2 cores in the series this year, Johnny. We've got core sim racing, which is the one we're seeing now, and we've got core motorsport also entered as an entrant.
Yep, and that's whether Andre Borcha, who races for core motorsport, actually attends the series. As Backham now, here we go.
Outside into turn number 1, no, can't make it work. That's as close as he's been to Jamie Fluke in a good 7 laps or so. Got himself alongside on the outside. Jamie Fluke was protecting the inside into the corner. Backham's going to get a better run out of turn. Actually, no, he doesn't in the end. He just lifted off the noisy pedal, I think. And the thing is, Fluke still got DRS from the only Tourmaler until the point that Tourmaler pulls out over a second, which is close to happening. I don't think Backham's really going to get a chance.
Yeah, but he swoops in the car nicely into the Ferradura, much like the Magpies here in Australia. I got swooped the other day walking home. Magpies here are so crazy, but that's basically how you have to attack Ferradura. Trust me, that's a story for another day, I'll tell you. But Backham right now is... It's like one of the most confusing things I've ever seen. Is he confident or is he not? Like, I don't know whether it's definitely not with the car, because the car looks cool, it looks stable, everything's going well for him. It's just whether or not he can push and make the move. Just do it. There's nothing to lose here. You're in P12 already. I mean, you should be up there in the top 5. And here he comes. Go up the outside or inside. What's he going to choose?
Outside again. Not close enough. But it was worth noting there that at the DRS activation point, Fluke was 9.5 tenths of a second behind Yoni Tuomala. So I would say maybe next lap. A much better run, though, for Backham this time out of Curva de Sol. Dances it to the inside. And no, again, he just pulls back in.
That was the best chance for Mac because Fluke had a twitch on the exit of turn 3 there. So the left-hander, the fast sweeping left-hander, and that's the corner where you just have to hug the inside, don't touch too much curb, and Fluke did exactly that, and that's why the small twitch happened. Good save though from Jamie, but Mac, that was his best chance.
It was. The thing worth noting is that Fluke is still within 1 second of Yun Tomala, despite that little twitch. So he should, so long as he exits Yun Sal okay, still be within a second. Let's have a look. It's going to be close, and we talk about hundredths of a second here. Another twitch. That's the difference then. 1 second. Exactly. Does he get DRS? I think actually they might give it to him. Yes. Exactly on the 1 second mark. You can't get much closer to losing DRS than that, as we've got Graham Carroll on pit road for the first time.
And that's important because will that release Freak Shotos into some clean air? Carroll out and away, seamless pit stop. Not the best place for your box to be set, so he's not going to get the most ideal exit. Will he have clean air coming out of the pits? He might feed out in front of P19 Stephen Michaels. He does. That's brilliant for Graham Carroll, and brilliant job by the guys in his ear to tell him go towards the pit lane, look at the clear track you have, and power away here, Graham.
4.1 second pit stop, 20 seconds total on pit lane. As Yuta Saito's had a moment. He's off. Down at turn number 4. We don't often see mistakes like that from Yuta Saito, but it looks like he's just overcooked it. Yeah, got himself onto the white line, then onto that curb, and all the way he was just losing grip, trying to power through. Didn't work out for him.
No, didn't at all. And Yuta's been very strong at Interlagos. I mentioned this in qualifying too, is generally at Interlagos, and a lot of sim racers lose time, whether you're in the World Championship or you're in your first ever sim race in your life.
Oh, sorry, more drivers in. This is more important. Sorry about that, Johnny. We've got ourselves 2 red line drivers on pit road. Freak Shawhorse and Bono House have all made pit stops. Graham Carroll, of course, has made a pit stop, and Shawhorse responding there. It's going to be very close, actually, between the driver of Shawhorse and Graham Carroll, but no, Carroll will come out ahead, actually, by about 1 second.
Oh, wow. So there you go. And that's really important for Graham Carroll's race, but that's a good reaction there by Redline because I would have kept Freak out. Clean air, why not get the fresher rubber later on? It just depends on, maybe they just preferred the clean track nevertheless. It's hard to think on the spot, obviously, which is what I'm trying to do right now. Look at the lead, though. Kroenke 4 seconds now. He's just got that extra buffer, and both of those guys continue. Generally, in this series, you'll see the leaders pit last just because they manage the tyres so well, because they're so smooth in the car, and that's the key to success.
Yeah, the question now is going to be, if you're a Michael Dinkle and Ollie Pakala et al., do you stay out and wait as long as you can? Or do you try and react and come on towards pit road? And Johnny, that's always the question. The undercut, overcut, whatever you want to call it going on, is always important. Strategy in this type of series is always going to be as important as those who just got out and out pure pace. As we see Lucas Gotch on pit road and Patrick Holtzman on pit road as well.
Yeah, so those two enter the pits, but between Pakala and Dinkle, I think they're battling with each other, so I don't think they're too focused on the guys in front. I think they're more focused right now on not losing a position to, Redline not losing to Dinkle, and obviously vice versa. Dinkle trying to pass Pakala as his aim. It's confusing. I don't know. I'm not that smart. I'd love to think on the spot, but I'm just not smart enough, so that's why these engineers have that job.
Well, that's a shame for the driver of Lucas Gotch, because when he comes out of pit road, he's only about a second behind Patrick Holtzman, but there's 2 cars between them, and they are all racing for position. And Gotch, you can just see that in his wheel motion. He is frustrated right now as we go on board of him. And he's got fresh boots on his car, but he's going to have to stay behind all the way through this tight and twisty section of the racetrack. Gotch in P number 24. David Court in the Orion Racing Team car just ahead of him. We'll just cycle through, and we'll show you there. You've got the driver of Tomo Meglek in P number 22. Has got more drivers on pit road. Isaac Price is onto the lane right now as well. So more and more drivers are all coming on to pit road as we speak, and a lot of them this time by actually are on pit road. Oh, we got one of them who's not even got into his pit box properly, Johnny.
Jamie Fluke, can't see from my view.
No, Fluke's come out. It looked
Fluke's
like it
come
might
out.
have been an Orion car. Yes, it was. It was actually the driver of Yao Vaz, if I'm not very much mistaken. 28.7 seconds, his pit stop there. Pit stop mistakes are unacceptable in this series.
No, I mean, you should be practicing them. Some drivers like to just exit straight to the pits after maybe making a mistake or having a spin. I'd like to just drive back and practice the entry, get it right. I've always spoke about that time when I ended up passing 2 cars on pit entry to Monza. So if I can do that, and I'm not even that good, anybody in this Sim Racing World Championship can do it.
Right. Run through some of the drivers who haven't pitted. Simplest way of saying it is your top 10 haven't yet stopped. You've got Daniel Arndt Wensing and Marcus Jensen. They haven't stopped yet either. We've got another driver on pit road. It's Bullock Bassey then from the Radicals Online organization coming in. Let's see what he can do. Nicely in there for him. Going to take some fresh boots. No fuel, of course, in these cars. Actually, a long stop for Bullock Bassey. I think he might have... the front wing. Yeah, front wing. 11.6 seconds, then out and away he comes. So it cost him about 7 seconds in the end, Johnny. We've got more drivers in. Jensen, DeCourt, both on the lane.
Yep, so Marcus Jensen, another rookie in the series who had a brilliant pro series. And he's out and away. Good pit stop for him too. Not that long. This pit exit's pretty difficult too. I don't think it's... we haven't spoken about it quite that much, but you can lose the rear end heading through turn 3, but that's pretty sad for Bullock Bassey anyway, as Hutu now, most importantly, enters the pit lane before Martin Kroenke.
Wow. Alexei Yakola on pit road as well. So, Hutu going to get his stop. Ollie Pakula is also in. This is an important stage of the race. Yeah, Dinkel continues on as Gregor Hutu, Alexei Yakola both come out as they were. But let's see where Hutu comes out, because actually he might end up being passed in just 1 second's time by the driver Marty Piatella. This is going to help Commander even more. But no, Hutu powers through there, and that was a significant move by him.
Yeah, he's got the grip and the confidence on the new tyres, so that's easy said than done. But a good move from Gregor there, as Bono, who was he's currently in 6th, so right behind Alexei. I'm a bit surprised, well, not surprised, but I would have preferred Alexei to pit on a different lap to Gregor. You know, I truly think this race that Alexei Yakola is faster than Gregor Hutu, and when they pitted at the same time, what they don't realize is Kroenke, now our leader, enters the pits. Alexei had to pit and he had to search for his box with a full face of Gregor Hutu in front. It's hard to see a pit box and you may make a mistake. So brilliant stuff by Alexei to not overshoot the box.
Yep, here is then the driver of Martin Kroenke. 3.6, perfect for him as he exits pit road then. Now just got to bring it back up to pace. Michael Dinkel still hasn't pitted, by the way.
He's still in the window.
He's still in the window, yeah. But importantly, Kroenke comes out ahead of Dinkel, and he's increased that gap actually to about 3.7 seconds over Gregor Hutu for the time being.
Yep, so that's very, very important. Dinkel obviously could hold up Gregor through this middle part of the lap, as Schotter so close to Mr. Graham Carroll, as the Scot stays in front there of the Team Redline driver. I just want to see here, this is important now, whether or not Hutu loses even more time behind the German here of Michael Dinkel, who's had a phenomenal race. It has to be said, like a great improvement from Michael Dinkel.
Yep.
Probably one of the best team leaders in sim racing. He knows how to get it done in terms of a leadership standpoint, and he's got the pace now too. This is great to see, but here he comes, Hutu. He's definitely going to make the pass in this straight, as Dinkel's going to be a sitting duck with no grip.
DRS is going to be open then for Gregor Hutu, as Dinkel might, yeah, indeed he is, coming on towards pit road. So, not going to see a pass there anyway. As we go on board then with the driver of Alexei Yakola. And you're right, Yakola now, he's actually 1 second behind Gregor Hutu. He's not really helped him at all in this event, coming in at the same time.
Yeah, not really. I mean, maybe they're from the same team. They don't want to switch positions. Not saying that Redline believe that Gregor will be the long-term sort of guy to choose for the championship, because this could be Alexei's year. Who knows? I mean, round 1 results really aren't the you can't really go by them, because we've seen in the past that it takes about 3-4 rounds sometimes to finally see who are going to be our contenders for the rest of the season. Now we have a 12-race calendar. These guys have to be up to scratch from round one. They can't make mistakes. They can't make these silly moves and crash out of races, which is why we see a few drivers hesitant today. But regardless of that, we're almost halfway through the event, and I've quite enjoyed this first race. Very, very poised, and everybody keep the TV on. Don't switch off. This is great racing. You're going to learn a lot from these best sim races.
Yep. Graham Carroll, P number 6. Frig Shawhorse, P number 5 right now. So, Carroll has fallen back to 6th place in this event. That's one thing I want to talk about very quickly, Johnny, because of the fact that Graham Carroll started off really well in this event. It just seems to be that Apex have got a lot of pace, that the 97% range, they've just got to punch that last 3% in, because that seems to be the only thing hurting Graham Carroll today, because his racecraft, fantastic. Consistency, fantastic.
Yeah, and so Shotos got past at turn 1, I believe, so
yeah.
Just this last lap around, or the lap before, excuse me. So there you go. You know what, I'm impressed though. Graham's had a great event, because Graham's pretty much upped his own expectations. So when he says he's going to expect nothing less than a win, it's just because he's one of those people that likes to push himself that extra further. But if you look at it from a realistic standpoint, this is a brilliant start to the season for not just Graham Carroll, but team-wide for Apex Racing UK. We know Alex Simpson, team boss, couldn't make round 1 this race. Obviously had a couple personal issues to deal with, so he'll be back for the rest of the season. And hopefully it's not his last season. Rumours there of Alex Simpson possibly not racing in the World Championship after 2017. We don't want to see that. Or we can steal him and throw him into our commentary booth, maybe.
Indeed so. As Jamie Fluke, Patrick Holtzman there, P10, P11, 2 Apex Racing UK drivers. Here then is a look at your top 8 right now. Trunke leads by Gregor Hutuo by 4 seconds. Alexi Usiakola in 3rd. Bono House in 4th. Frig Shawhorse 5th. Graham Carroll, Ollie Pakula and Michael Dinkel round out your top 8. We're going to step aside for one brief moment. Back with more after these messages as we take you RaceSpotTV side by side.
The NASCAR Beginner Series powered by iRacing is the premier NASCAR esports series featuring the cars and tracks from the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. The 2016 campaign saw a return to the top of the mountain by Ray Alfalla as a 3-time NASCAR World Champion. The march to that championship was not easy, though, despite the fact that Ray Alfalla took home the most points in series history. It just also happened to be the tightest championship fight we had ever seen. These guys are set for the 2017 campaign, and as it has been for the 7 years prior, it is no longer going to be a straight shot to the championship. We are going to see the biggest change in this championship picture in series history, as for the first time ever, there will be a chase for the championship. We're going to go into the Homestead Miami Speedway at the end of the season with the 4 best oval sim racing drivers in the world absolutely tied in the championship. You just got to beat the other 3 guys out and you will become an official NASCAR champion. You're going to get yourself a NASCAR championship ring and, of course, $10,000. These are the iRacing Esport World Championships, the pinnacle of sim racing competition. You can catch it all season long, live coverage on iRacing.com/live.
Back live here at Interlagos. You saw there what's to come in the NASCAR Pick Anti-Free Series powered by iRacing. Round number 1 rescheduled at Daytona on RaceSpotTV and on iRacingLive. We are your home of the iRacing World Championship Series. We were talking about this one just off air. Matt Backham had a slow pit stop actually, 11.2 seconds. He was on the gun. He's now behind Cem Bulabasi.
Yep, so got to he's been behind a driver almost every lap this race.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so frustrating, you know. But anyway, he's too far behind now to make a move on Cem. HM racing for Mac's old team, Radicals Online. Mac made the switch to Coanda, who I know you and I think is an amazing switch from Mac Backham, because he's not that knowledgeable in terms of setup, but he has all the pace and all the tools there. Generally, you don't want to get guys with potential, because sometimes they don't always pan out, and then you're the one who gets in trouble for them because you're the one who hired them. But Mac is worth the risk here. He's such a talent. He's
a different driver at Coanda in so many different ways, and actually we're looking now at Isaac Price. He's another one of those drivers who has changed teams, and actually, you think about where he was when he was an NX Racing driver, he was around this window. Back end of the top 10, just outside the top 10. Sim Racing only have one driver in the World Championship Grand Prix Series. That is Isaac Price, and he's doing a good job right now, actually.
Yeah, good stuff. Isaac Price, who dealt with all the drama last season of leaving NX. I'm not even going to go into that, but that was not good. This is a good sort of, I hate the word revenge, but it's up there. He's right behind a man named Patrick Holtzman, who's incredibly quick. At the same time, he runs wide at turn 1, but then he picks it up. That was confusing there. I think he's all good. He's all good. But anyway, regardless of that, Isaac Price, passionate sim racer, knows his stuff. He's very active in the community too. He tried to do a 24-hour race last year for charity, all on his own. I appreciate it doing it for charity, but that's got to be really, really crazy.
Yeah, not the first one to ever do a 24-hour charity race on iRacing. Ian Plaster, of course, is famous for trying to do it 3 years in a row now at Daytona. Just like live timing and scoring is still available. RaceSpotTV/timing, unless you're watching this on Motorsport TV, in which case it's not. Sorry. But having a look through the field, Daniel Arndt Wensing actually in P number 12, trying to hunt down Yao Vaz last time by, was a 10th or so quicker. Retirees in this event, we have a few of them. Johnny, we've got Passes Gergis, Ilka Happard and Riley Preston out lap 1, turn number 1. Antoine Hegelin, Peter Berriman, we saw what happened with those two drivers, of course, down at turn number 1 later on in the event. Lucas Gotch is also out of the event in that MSP driver's home car. It's a shame because he was doing so well.
Yeah, so unfortunately, Lucas Gotch, as we mentioned, I think he doesn't get as much praise as he gets. Berryman in that incident with Ilbrink, and Ilbrink's now a lap behind as a result of that too. We know what happened with Hegelin and Backham earlier on. I feel a bit bad for Pascalis Georgis, who qualified really well in his first race. Obviously got caught up in that incident on the first lap at turn 4. There were a few spins there, and it was with one of the Radicals driver. It might have been Saito, I remember off the top of my head. But yeah, Georgis just got collected and had nowhere to go. He'll be back for round 2.
Yep, as Isaac Price continues to close down around the likes of Patrick Holtzman, Jamie Fluke, but the two Apex Racing UK drivers have the opportunity to work together a little bit here to keep that core sim racing driver from being able to find a way past. Back in versus Bullet Pasley, still as it is as well. Alexei Usiakola is back within a second of Gregor Hutu. Bono House and Freak Shawhorse actually have both kind of fallen off the back. But we have got Redline 2, 3, 4 and 5 in this event. That is a point worth thinking about, as Bono House is only one place away from where I said he needed to be in the first 3 rounds of the championship.
Well, is that going to sum up the season then? Because Kroenke is, well, I'm not going to say in another world, because he will not win every race this season. Well, he could actually. It's in contention.
Well, Hutu won all but one race in 2010.
Yeah, well, true. Well, that was the first year of the championship. Anyway, regardless of that, I don't want to go into contingencies. 2, 3, 4, 5 is great for any other team. For Redline, I mean, obviously they go into every race wanting to win. I don't think Redline's ever gone into Interlagos and said, "Hey, let's maybe finish P3 for fun, and if they're P1 on the final lap, they'll let 2 cars through." You're trying to win every race you enter in. So right now, 2, 3, 4, 5 is great. And it's a good start to the season. So it's not like last season where Hutu accidentally took out a Backlone and Alexi into the first corner. But as you said, it's fine. It's whatever Dom thinks as a team boss.
Yeah, but I talked about this before. Strength on numbers. It looks like Team Redline have got the strength on numbers over Coanda this year. If you have a look at the other Coanda SimSport drivers, well, you've got yourself the driver in P number 9 right now. Martin Piatella, not really able to help Martin Kroenke, although Piatella did score a couple of podiums last year. It is worth remembering that one. Then you've got to go away back to get to Matt Backham in the 16th place. So whilst, yes, Team Redline aren't going to be happy with second, third, fourth, and sixth right now, it is worth noting that the Team Redline, the Coanda drivers aren't actually really able to help out Martin Kroenke. He's by himself really right now.
Yeah, and well, that's where Mitchell de Jong will come into play in future rounds. So depending on where Mitchell comes back. So we discussed whether or not he's going to be on a part-time schedule because of the fact that this is a shorter calendar with only 12 races. And we've already answered that question in the first round. Now, I do remember they get the drop weeks too, so that will come into play. But it just depends on whether Mitchell is... he's still in contention for the championship. It's just whether or not he shows up for the next 11 races as well and supports Kroenke. It's not the end of the world, though, if Martin doesn't have that support. He's got the leadership behind the scenes. He's got Marty Piatella. We know Mac Backham as well. He can learn a lot from you guys. Don't think if you're the world's best sim racer and you won the world championship, you learn so much off these new guys coming into the team.
On board with Ollie Pakula, 2 tenths behind Graham Carroll right now. And if Pakula gets past, of course, it'll be Redline, second, third, fourth, and fifth. I will learn how to count at some point in this broadcast, I promise. But Carroll holding on to P number 6, but he's in that phase of the race like he had in the first stint when those tyres don't seem to really be working for the Apex Racing UK car as well as the Team Redline cars. What we're going to do then, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to actually ride a lap on board with the driver of Ollie Pakula. We're going to go on board on the exit of Yunsao. This is RaceSpotTV Fan Immersion. Take 2 for the pass. And this time he gets it. Ollie Pakula, good job by him. That time, Graham Carroll couldn't do anything as Pakula sold him a dummy there. Went to the outside, but Carroll would have the opportunity to come back on the run down into turn number 4. What's going to happen here? Graham Carroll on board of him. He stays behind. Carroll down into 7th. Up into 6th now is the driver of Ollie Pakula. Fantastic pass there by Ollie, actually. That's one where arguably, I'm going to say, Johnny, we need to have a second look at.
Well, we're going to have a second look. Talk about fan immersion. You can't get better than that. These fans are spoiled right now. For initially, Dinkle thought the pass was done. He pops up the other side of the onboard footage. Ollie, that pass, you can see the green wall there, whatever you call that wall. I mean, that's bravery at its best. If I was Apex, though, I'd protest the move because Ollie was pretty much almost all 4 wheels off the track on those white lines. Why not? Protest it, see what happens. You might not get a good result, but amazing move by Ollie.
Fantastic move by Ollie. Easily passed the race so far. And look how quickly he's pulled away. Half a second there in 1 lap over Graham Carroll. Carroll got the DRS back at the end of the lap, which closed it down a little bit. But overall, pass fantastically done there. And also, worth noting, Isaac Price, away from our screens, has now got himself... Actually, no, he's still in 12. He's still got Fluke and Holtzman ahead of him. I thought he'd actually split the Apex sandwich. He hasn't. No timing and scoring. Just lying to me a little bit there.
Yeah. Well, what I've noticed is just watching Isaac Price, generally, I mean, the quickest drivers this race seem to be the ones more confident under braking. I don't know if that's the only thing that makes them quick, but what I've seen from watching Kroenke, Hutu, Packler as well up the front, all these guys, they're just so confident. They carry so much speed into the corners. Obviously, that means greater lap time as long as they don't compromise the exit. So these drivers behind maybe need to compare their lap times a bit, look at the telemetry. Carroll, though, and Dinkel are now 7th and 8th. That means Team Redliner from 2nd to 6th. 5 cars in a row. And that is amazing to have all 5 cars in the top 6, but no win. When was the last time we ever saw that in the championship?
A long, long time ago. I'm not going to sing the song, it's okay. But Carroll is still within the second of Ollie Packler, so he's not clear and out of the woods just yet. Having a look down the field, by the way, still got a nice little train going on. This is outside of your top 20. It starts with the driver of Balas Wemniak, who, let's not forget, started this race in last place. He's now up to P number 22. Mogar Filo right behind him. Behind Filo is David de Corps. Behind David de Corps is Thomas Meglek. Behind Meglek is Yuta Saito.
It's a nice train. Well, it could be another one of those DRS trains we always see, but Filio, not really a guy you want behind you. He's quick. Interlagos is a track that he practices at a lot. Now, you think home track advantage in sim racing means nothing. If you're from Brazil, you probably spend the most time at Interlagos in sim racing because you know the track, you love it, so you're most used to this venue. And Filio's always been strong around here, but I just think in the McLaren he's struggling, so that's why he's just quite down the order. But here he goes, a shot at Romaniak in the Vortex.
But he loses out there. Through Curve of the Soul, he lost a 10th of a second, just hugging that inside line. He gains it all back on the run into turn number 4, then going to push a little bit wide then. He's got to be careful because David de Corps isn't that far behind him. As you'll see there, 4 tenths of a second, the Orion race team car. And well, I did say Orion might be a little bit better in the race, and not is a sad state of affairs. Of course, Riley Preston out at the start of this one, Ilka Hapara out at the start of this one as well. So their 2 strongest drivers are out. So it's not a full representation, but Orion race team, this is not the start to 2017 they would have wanted.
No, they're not. But no panic. I'm not trying to play down any sort of controversy, but there's no panic. They got a man named Ilka Hapala who's more than experienced to lead that team. And he's got so much knowledge with this car. He knows it back to front. He knows where it will fail. So they'll figure it out for themselves. It's just whether or not they fall into that radical situation last year where radicals just constantly had their whatever it was, ERS or tire issues, and hopefully it's not the same this season. And Filio now still can't make his own pass.
Just worth noting, by the way, we just saw it not the time they just went past the line, the time beforehand. Your top 3 drivers all did a 1 minute 13.14 within literally a few 1,000ths of a second of each other. That last time, by the way, Martin Kroenke a 10th faster than Gregor Hutu. He continues to stretch his legs here as we're on to lap number 50 of 71 here in the first round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Having a look further back, Graham Carroll is still holding his own there in P number 7. Fluke Holtzman, they're still the same. Marinus Kolak, though, talking about Orion, there is one driver in the Orion race team who's not doing too badly. That is Marinus Kolak in P number 13. He's caught now this train of drivers: Isaac Price, Jamie Fluke, Patrick Holtzman.
Hey, good stuff from Cholak, who's a former World Touring Car Championship driver. We always mention it, and it's he's always been that dark horse. Part of Iberica Racing, moved on to Orion last season, and Iberica, ironically now, well, not really ironically, but they're not in the World Championship anymore. So maybe a good switch from Marin there, who Orion need to. It's weird, isn't it? I'm trying to. I tried to play down the controversy, but I'm trying to think about it a little bit more. It's so weird not to see many Orion cars up there in the order.
Yeah, as we just get a fantastic shot there of those 3, now 4 drivers as they head themselves towards Yonsao once again. And having a look back as well, Stephen Michaels, a driver in a new team. He's running P number 17. In fact, last time we went on board of him, he was making up a place, but now he's behind Chen Bullet Bassi, P16, P17 going on right now. We know that Chen was struggling with straight line speed earlier with his front wing damage. That one has been sorted. Stephen Michaels, with DRS open, cannot close up to the rear of the Radicals Online car.
No, he can't. So he's pretty far behind. I've just got one eye on Kroenke, who's making his way past 4 cars of traffic. But Michael's back to the series. We know he used to be a Twister Racing driver back in the day. Had a lot of bad luck, you mentioned too, Will, which caused him to not finish many races in the past, but it's good to see him back right now. Cembalik Basi hasn't climbed up the order as much as I thought he would, so after that long pit stop, his pace is all right, but it's not as fast as I thought it would, as I said.
Yeah, as we've been on board there with Martin Kroenke. For those of you new to the series who are iRacing members, there's one thing that's different about the World Championship Series compared to standard races, and that is blue flag rules are in operation like you'd see at a normal Grand Prix. That means that within the next lap or two, when Kroenke gets himself behind these 2 drivers scrapping for position, they will be told to yield for your race leader. Of course, in standard races, it's the leader's got to find their own way past, Johnny. So there's a rule difference that applies in a World Championship Series.
Yeah, don't even make me start about blue flags and drivers, because I've seen, so many of my races in the past ruined by cars that, I don't know, I think a lot of drivers are respectful in blue flag positions, but some, I think, either had frustrating races and they just try to show something off and they try to make themselves look better. But in this series anyway, it's good to see it being policed. Haven't been too many issues in the past anyway, so these guys are all respectful on the grid. They're all great guys, so they're not going to do anything like that. That's pretty dirty.
And these races, of course, are all live. Admin, hello to Shannon Whitmore et al. Of course, Shannon, director of competition here, and the iRacing officials, who, as ever, are studiously monitoring all the on-track situations that are going on. As now we see that Martin Kroenke is through that bit of traffic. The next drivers who he will have to pass are about 4 or 5 seconds up the road, so nothing really for them just yet. Going back, though, to have a look at Marin S. Kolak. We're going to go on board of him right now. 2.5 tenths of a second towards the start-finish line, and this DRS train is hurting Ryan a little bit. We're only 1 mile an hour faster than Isaac Price, so really needs to have the overspeed of about 3-4 miles an hour out of that final corner to help them.
He does need to have that extra speed, but they've all got DRS, so it sort of nullifies the effect, as Fluke has another twitch. That's the 2nd time this race, and Cholak doesn't have the run out of the first corner. Here comes turn 4 now, the Skida Interlagos, just maximizing the track width. Don't run too wide on the exit. Downhill traction zone 2, so you saw drivers a couple times in the past have spun to the inside of the corner and then sweet clip both apexes into Ferradura here. 6-7, nice over the curb there, and put all 4 wheels onto the curb here into turn 8. So there you go, good stuff. As Cholak continues away, he doesn't get too close through this middle part of the lap, and I have to say, he's really got to. You know what? This we panic too much in the commentary booth. We think that making a pass in 2 laps is bad. This is what motor racing is. It's a puzzle. You have to put the puzzle together to make an overtake. It's a game of chess, and find the right move at the right time.
We just saw David Accord there get himself past Mogar Philo in towards turn 4 here, as it was an overspeed pass. Although, first of all, Mogar Philo went a little bit wide through the curve of the Sol, but then afterwards got pushed a little bit wide through turn number 4. So Mogar Philo now down into P number 24 in this event, and it's worth noting, actually, talk about radicals and their kind of downturn in pace. Well, 24th, 26th, and 27th, and 28th. You've got 4 radical drivers.
Well, I'm rooting for them anyway. I mean, they got the talent there. They just have to figure it out. I think they can. I'm not going to lose faith in that team. Not that I'm the do-all end-all of losing faith. But you know what I mean. You know, you don't want to slag off the team and think that that's it. That's their World Championship over for 2017. It's only round 1. They'll hopefully figure it out. It's just a challenge. And when everybody else is making 3 steps forward each round, you can't keep making 3 steps forward because you're still going to be in P24 like Mogar Philo is now. So you've got to keep on pushing that little bit extra. It's in any sport too, whether it's motorsport or ball sports, anything like that. If you're not talented enough, you've got to put in like double the amount of work. As here they all come now. Filio in front has Reminiak and De Corps, and as Hutu made his way past, they've got a little bit hair-raising between the 3.
Yeah. It is worth noting, to counteract what I was saying about the poor lack of pace for some of the Radicals drivers at the rear of the field. You have, of course, got Chem Bullet Bassi in P number 16. You've got Daniel Art Wunsing in P number 19 right now for that organisation. I'd like to be giving you the facts here. This is real racing. Isaac Price in P number 12, Steele versus Jamie Fluke. That one is how it has been for a long time. Martin Kroenke, though, heading himself through turn number 1, through turn number 2. Spent a couple of corners on board then with the 2016 world champion. One word for that, Johnny. Smooth.
You say move?
Smooth.
There we go. There we go. So Daniel Bieder out of the way.
Yeah.
That's Daniel Bieder is, I think, I mean, surely has to be the first ever driver in the series from Israel, and someone who's more than experienced in sim racing. He's out there still racing away, 8.8 seconds behind Marcus Jensen, who's in P20. But yeah, for Kroenke, it's not that fast. Sorry, it's not that big of a deal. Excuse me. That he was stuck behind the traffic. He's got 3.8 seconds to Gregor behind, so he's got that breathing space, got that breathing room. But you never know. You know, the end of the race could happen in 1 second.
Yeah, we had a pass, by the way. Chem Bullet Bassi versus Stephen Michaels. Actually, no, we almost had a pass. We're going to go on board and have a look then with the driver of Stephen Michaels. Moved to the outside and towards turn number 4. Got himself alongside Chem Bullet Bassi. Wasn't able to seal the deal. He remains in 17th place for the time being. We've also just had ourselves David Decor and Balas Remniak. They're going side by side right now. And this is for 22nd place, as there's Alexei Yusiakola saying, excuse me guys, blue flag rules are in operation, move out of my way.
Yeah, the challenge here for Remniak, he's on the marbles there, so obviously the track's starting to rubber in more come the end of the event. He maintains speed 22. The Corpse, though, you know, he's... it's the same. Nothing happens there. Filio has to defend from Tomo Meglec, who goes up the inside of Yun Sao. Oh, look at the bravery from Mogar Filio, too. He had the grip, and I think Tomo, not many people this race have been under braking on that inside line at Yun Sao, so maybe Tomo just didn't have the grip.
Yep, as we see now, David Corpse within a tenth of a second. David Corpse not able to make the move over Balas Remniak. So Remniak holds on, although he gets a slow run through the center S, and that's going to allow David Corpse to get a second bite of the cherry into turn number 4. Although, here's the interesting thing, because he's got a car in a second, the DRS comes up for him. So he's able to hold on then as a consequence. As we just have a look and turn that graphic around, and you'll see, even though that was Alexei Yusiakola, because it was a car in 1 second, DRS was activated. Ollie Pakula right now has closed up to the rear of Frick Shawhorse, and actually, as I say that, Jamie Fluke going side by side there with Marinette Kolak. This is the battle for P12.
Yeah, Cholak trying to get his way past. And Fluke doesn't have the typical twitch he's had at turn 3. Both have DRS, so it's going to make the pass extra difficult for Cholak. But Fluke has to make sure he doesn't carry too much speed into turn 4 here, or else he'll hang himself out to dry on the exit, which is a good job there. Doesn't do it. And look who's behind. Yoni Tomler, our winner from last year, ready to pounce. And as Cholak runs very wide at the same time, Tomler cannot make his way past.
Yeah, here's a replay of the move then, or the attempted move at least. He got himself down to the inside. So actually, he had the hard work done, but Jamie Fluke's car just worked better on the outside line there. So you'll see that Cholak then couldn't get the opportunity into turn number 4 because they both had the DRS open. That's one that will have to go on for another lap. Tomala there in P number 14. Matt Backham is in 15th place right now. So after that pit stop, Backham really has faded in this race. It's Cholak versus Tormala. Well, they're all very close together, actually. I would expect maybe Tormala to win out in this situation because we know that straight line speed that traditionally exists in the NX car because of the way they do their setups.
Well, they can, They don't do it all the time anymore in the McLaren, but possibly at Interlagos it can work out for him. It seems to be working this round anyway. They do have the straight line speed. Tormola throws it up the inside at 4. As I said, don't carry too much speed, which he does. But he stops the car in time on the apex. So good car control from Tormola. You'll see a lot of drivers there make a rookie error and just sort of run wide and go off the racetrack. But that's great car control from Yoni. And good poise there as well, making the overtake up into P13.
So, overspeed working well there for Yoni. And of course, now his next victim, quote unquote, will be Jamie Fluke in the number 9 machine, who actually does a lot of harvesting down at that corner. It's Tomato there just going a little bit squirrely through Bigger de Pato. Now into Yongzhou, they'll go again. We're getting ourselves already down to about 11 laps to go in this event, Johnny. This race has literally breezed by.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've been so inundated with all the battles going on. Well, it's been, you know what, the start of the race was great. The front order, obviously a little bit dull come the top 10 towards the end of the event. But now we're starting to see 5th place come into play between Schothorst and Pakula. See how much qualifying matters in this series, obviously. With Pakula caught up in the traffic early on, it's taken him all this time to get back up to P5 as Tormola now goes past Jamie Fluke for P12. And guess what, Will? You're correct. Tormola wins out the battle.
2 guys in 2 laps. And this is one of the reasons why this guy won out this time last year. Back on board then for the replay with Tormola. Exit off Curve de Sol. Just see how much of a better run he gets. Fluke does get his kind of wiggle through the center of that corner once again. Tormola says, thank you very much. I'm going to go. Going to get the pass done. As we actually have Pakula just moving himself. No, not yet. We're on replay, but it's going to be best for us to show it to you on replay because they were just switching positions there on the run down in towards turn number 1 there, Johnny.
Yeah, and you'll see this. Pakula didn't have the grip around the outside. Come the end of the event, it's so difficult as they're still alongside each other again. So we'll see this on the replay.
Yep, so we're just going to stick it because of the fact that we've started to show a replay. Going to stick the entire thing so you get to see it as if it was real time. He had the outside line in towards the center S. Couldn't make it work. Then you see they go again. They'll come side by side on the exit of the Curve de Sol. The run down in towards turn number 4. Outside line again. Doesn't work for him. Doesn't have the grip to swing it around the outside. That was much closer the second time around, actually, though. So Pakula not afraid to race his own teammate as hard as he would race anyone else. And they come up the hill again. Just to let you know, Mogofilo's back past Balas Remniak at the same time as well.
Yeah, so lots of action here in the final 10 laps. People are starting to realize that time is running out. And here they go again. Pakula and Schothorst around the outside. Pakula has a bit more grip this time around, and Freak closes the door there. That was brave from Freak. Almost took out his teammate in the end, but Ollie has the run here out of 3.
Much better run. Yeah, there you are. Inside line. Thank you very much. Ollie Pakula is going to breeze past, but that, for a moment, was a little bit too close for my liking, shall we say.
Yeah, and that's good awareness from Ollie, because if Ollie hit Freak, everyone would blame, obviously, Pakula for that. But, you know, good driver awareness, backed off, didn't apply the throttle too early, wasn't too excited to make the move, and he was patient, and he got it done. So Freak there might have just ran a bit too deep and just tried to stabilize the car and not cause an incident. Good to see both red line drivers, though, come away unscathed.
Yeah, it was close, but they got on with it. And actually already, Pakula's pulled out 6 tenths for a second. Let's go and actually have a look at your race leader, shall we? Hi, I'm Martin Kroenke. I've pretty much led every single lap of this event, and I'm currently leading by 4.4 seconds over Gregor Hutu. I'm the 2016 iRacing World Champion, and basically, I want another one.
This is my life or something, right?
Yeah.
That we're doing right now? We're, well, what else has Martin achieved? I mean, what was it, like 1 incident point in a 24-hour race at Spa?
Yep.
That's one thing. Well, I know it wasn't 1, but it was basically nothing. He's done a lot of stuff. As now Carroll and Dinkle are in a little bit of a scrap here, the 2 Apex teammates. He's achieved a lot, and he's still got more to come. He's become a household name in sim racing. If household names in sim racing actually exist, I doubt millions and millions of homes are talking about these guys yet, because we know that exposure is starting to increase. iRacing is doing a lot as well to help this series. The future looks nice for sim racing. And for Michael Dinkel, the end of this race looks nice. You like that transition there?
I do. Don't forget, you can actually get the Release the Cronky t-shirt on the RaceSpotTV website. Just go to RaceSpot.tv/shop if you want to show your appreciation for the one that is the Cronky. Dinkel versus Carroll. Basically, they heard on the radio the two Redline guys almost crashed. It's like, you know what? If they're allowed to race, we're going to race as well.
Yeah, why not? And right behind as well, Marti Piatella, we know, who scored 2 podiums last year in the series, had a good championship, really got used to the McLaren. He's right behind in this battle. He's in DRS zone of Michael Dinkel. So these two have to remember, we're teammates and we can fight. They're also trying to chase Schotthorst in front, 2.3 seconds ahead. I would say, actually, for Michael Dinkel, defend from Marty and let Graham try to attack Freak. You got to work here as teammates. It's only one position. Forget about the bigger picture. Forget about yourself. Get over yourself. Help Graham here. Try and get ahead of Redline and try and demoralize that team slightly.
But the issue is, last time by, Freak Schotthorst did a 113.867 and Graham Carroll did a 114.275. So actually, they've not got the pace of Redline. And this is what I'm getting back to my 97% comment. Apex, in this race, quite clearly have shown themselves they are the third best team in the series. But they need that last little 3% to get themselves up to Redline's pace, because they cannot challenge them in terms of raw speed right now.
Yeah, well, it's going to take time. And any smart team manager, any smart person knows that anything in sports, it's going to take time. It takes development. It takes patience. Guys, lots of teams give up on drivers after one race, and they're like, they're not good. They're crap. Get rid of them. They don't have the potential anymore. Whereas the smarter people know it takes that time, as I mentioned before, and they'll take the time to find the weaknesses, ameliorate them, and turn them into strengths, and improve on the strengths too. Never want to lose them. So they've got a great foundation, Apex, as I mentioned before. And right now, it's obvious, Will, they have jumped into, at least in my opinion, third best team on the grid in this first race. Yep,
Marta Piatella is trying to close, but the times are very similar between them. Last time by, Piatella 114.0, Michael Dinkel 113.844. So, still a potential little battle. We know that Piatella, when it counts, knows how to set up a good pass. And also, I do have to say, we've not talked about it, I do love the dark Commander colours.
They do look good. This livery looks amazing this year. A lot of the teams have nailed it with livery. I'm very impressed. A couple of teams, I know Apex has stayed the same, as Piatella has a huge twitch at the final corner, but he's all safe because Patrick Holtzman's 17 seconds behind. And wait, Patrick Holtzman there as well. I was going to mention this before. He did have a bad start to the race, or bad qualifying anyway. He's right behind his two Apex teammates who swap positions now. Dinkel straight through there.
Yep, replay could have come up then for you. Otherwise, I'm not going to say that just yet. Graham Carroll, does he want another go? Oh yes, he does. On the run now into turn number 4. Graham Carroll, outside line, doesn't manage to make it work. Pushes wide into the kitty litter almost. Graham Carroll setting for 8th, and actually it's allowed Martin Piatella to come right alongside. There's the pass then, down in towards turn number 1. It was nice and easy, really, for Michael Dinkel over Graham Carroll, but them fighting like that into turn number 4 has allowed Piatella to literally now be on their coattails.
Yeah, they've got to, look, as much fun as it is, you've got to be a little bit smarter here. It's just, you can't lose those extra points, especially to another team. That's really unfortunate that Marty's right behind, but it is what it is. And Dinkel got what he got anyway. He made the pass. Carroll's now behind, and he's vulnerable to an attack from Marti Piatella, who also, at Ferradura there, when you go up the inside, you pick up so much understeer on the front end, and he's lucky he didn't collect Graham Carroll, so good stuff from him not to go straight up the back.
Quarter of a second now is the difference between Graham Carroll and Marti Piatella. Graham Carroll does not want to lose a second spot in this event like he has done over the last few laps. And Piatella can't actually get the momentum out the corner. He's actually about 3 miles an hour slower on the run into turn number 4, so that's going to hurt him. I don't think that actually he'll have the pure straight line speed that the two Apex Racing UK drivers do, as we now got less than 5 to go in this event.
Yeah, less than 5 to go, and everything's coming to a close. So anything you've thought about all race, And you're like, should I do it? Should I not? Well, now is your last chance. Should you make that move up the inside? If you've thought about it all race, then you start to get a bit more hesitant, a bit more timid making those moves. Dinkle in front right now in P7. Couple of moments on the curb, off the racing line. Small lockup as well into turn 10. And does that allow Graham Carroll a chance here on the main straight?
It might do. Let's have a look. Not quite. Not quite.
Yeah, not even close.
Nah.
I mean, that's just 4 laps remaining now, obviously, as Piatella has a slight hiccup. They all go through. I think these 3 will pretty much stay stagnant unless somebody makes a mistake. I mean, pace-wise, they should be finishing in these positions, based on what I've seen today. Graham sort of dropped off towards the end of the event. I always thought Graham was maybe slightly faster than Dinkle most of the event, but towards the end of the stint, he just dropped off in pace. So I don't know if you'd give him driver of the day. Are we allowed to vote for... I'm going to switch the questions on you now. Are we allowed to vote for driver of the day this early? I'm going to put it on you.
No, not yet, because Tom Arno's coming back over Patrick Holtzman. Okay. And it's very close, actually. Tom Arno wanting to get himself into the top 10 here today. And there have been some very good runs in your field. Let's actually show you the movers and shakers in your event today. Notice Pacala up 7, Piatella up 10. They automatically have to go into the conversation for driver of the day. But then, behind, note the fact that you've got Isaac Price up 8 places in a one-car team. Stephen Michaels up 13 places in what is just a small unit there for his Vortex Racing today. Daniel Bieder, first Israeli driver we talk about, he's up 13 places when he qualified today. Of course, there are some disappointing performances. Riley Preston and Palis Gergis both down double digits here today. Last couple of laps now of this event, Yoni Tamana versus the driver of Patrick Holtzman. And he's very close there. He's going to try and sling it down the inside. You can't do it that far back, from that far back, really, Yoni. But he's close.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to peek, and then you realize that the door was so wide open, he just released the brake pedal a little bit because he gained that extra couple of meters. He's got another shot here as Holtzman goes defensive, so smart defensive move. A little bit late, but it was fair, so not against the rules. And Holtzman's well aware of an attack here.
Outside of Ferradura. Okay then, Yoni, if you want to think you can do it there, but you can't. Just gets a car alongside. You can get the momentum out of here and stab it down the inside of 8 if you wanted to, but it wasn't close enough to do so. Nice little battle then, with 2 to go in this motor race, and we still got nice little scraps. It's not over yet for any of these drivers, unless you're talking about the gap out front, because Kroenke is now 6.1 seconds ahead of Gregor Hutu. Let's go back on board then, one more time with the driver of Yonis Romano. This is almost, in my opinion, going to be academic. But as they work themselves up the hill, Yoni doesn't get the run that he necessarily needs. So he won't be able to really make the path into turn number 1. Holtzman should have the advantage through turns number 1, 2, and 3. If Tamano wants the opportunity, he'll have to do it down at turn number 4. But he doesn't get a good run through the center S either. He now's got to put the power down, and no, he can't do so actually, Yoni. He got himself a wiggle on the exit of the corner. That's really going to cost him a little bit. But he does suck up enough that he might, no, not going to lunge it at all. Meanwhile, Martin Kroenke takes a white flag. One more lap to go. Here we go then. Martin Kroenke, 6.4 seconds over Gregor Hutu. That is the gap and that is the advantage. Martin Kroenke started this race on pole position. And despite the fact that Redline will end up having 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th in this event, it doesn't matter for Coanda because they take the victory. This is the driver who has missed the consistency in 2016, which enabled him to get the shot of winning the World Championship. And today, well, he's just been, like he always is, impeccable, smooth, on pace, and that's it. Coming now through Big Pato for the final time. We'll give you an update on the Yoni Tamana situation if anything changes on that one in the final lap. But here comes then your 2011 World Champion through the final corner for the final time. Well, the second to last corner. Now he's into the final corner for the final time. Martin Kroenke picks up where he left off in 2016 and he wins the first round of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Gregor Hutu going to come across the line in second. Alexei Yakola now going to come home and take third. Bono House will get fourth. Olli Pakula fifth. Freak Shawhorse in the sixth place. To let you know, by the way, Tomala versus the driver of Patrick Holtzman. Nothing's really changed there. Actually, have a look in terms of the timing and scoring. Actually, it does look as though that Yoni has been able to find a way past because Holtzman spins it on the final lap of the event. Let's get a second look then. He's still spinning, still got issues. Patrick Holtzman, it's all gone wrong at the end of the race for him. Patrick Holtzman, after being so strong earlier on, has himself an incident. Does he have damage out of it? We'll have a look now and we'll let you know. Holtzman hits his in through turn 1, 2 and 3. And then Yoni Tamala going to close up on the run. And this is the final lap, of course, as well. Tamala looks to the inside, looks to the outside. Do they make contact through this section? Oh! Then spins it. You talk about turn number 4 and having opportunities lost there. Down at turn number 4. End game over for Patrick Holtzman. Damage as a consequence. And he struggles to barely even make it home, Johnny.
Yeah, and I spoke about the exit of turn 4. You see so many drivers spin up the inside here because it's a downhill traction zone. You're on the curb too. It's not easy to apply the throttle. I mean, to do that on the final lap, he was having such a ripper of a race. To start down all the way in 15th, be up in the top 10. The pressure got to him, and he was ultra defensive. And what I was going to say before, until we hit the final lap, was the amount of defending that Holtzman was doing, it makes it ever so hard to get back into rhythm. And right now, he'll end up being classified in the 18th position and last man on the lead lap. And that is not the way you want to end an event. I mean, that's, you know, it's pretty sad right there because he had such a great event. I'm still trying to let it sink in.
But Kroenke wins. And that's the big story of the day. He wins by 7 seconds over Gregor Hutu. Alexei Yakola in third place. Bono House in P number 4. Olli Pakula in 5th place. Craig Shawhorse in P6. Michael Dinkel, Graham Carroll, Martin Piatella, and Yoni Tamala round out your top 10. A couple of stats. We've got 2 Dutch drivers, 2 drivers from Diach, 1 driver from Club UK and Ireland, Graham Carroll, and then you've got yourself, finally, 5 drivers from Finland in your top 10. Shows finish domination always exists in these type of series. Isaac Price in 11th, Jamie Fluke in 12th, Matt Back in 13th, recovers at the end of the event. Marin Kolak in 14th, Chen Bullock-Bassey in 15th. Rest of the results up on your screen right about now. You'll see a couple of drivers out of the event. Robin Friscott, 20 laps down in the INX Racing number 25 machine. Lucas Scotch, good start to the race, but finishes 30th after having himself issues. Riley Preston, Ilka Hapola, Pashless Gergis out lap 1, turn number 1. We're going to step aside for a few moments. We'll be back with more after this. This is the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series.
The NASCAR Peak Interface Series powered by iRacing is the premier NASCAR eSports series featuring the cars and tracks from the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series. The 2016 campaign saw a return to the top of the mountain by Ray Alfalla as a 3-time NASCAR World Champion. The march to that championship was not easy, though, despite the fact that Ray Alfalla took home the most points in series history. It just also happened to be the tightest championship fight we had ever seen. These guys are set for the 2017 campaign, and as it has been for the 7 years prior, it is no longer going to be a straight shot to the championship. We are going to see the biggest change in this championship picture in series history, as for the first time ever, there will be a chase for the championship. We're going to go into the Homestead Miami Speedway at the end of the season with the 4 best oval sim racing drivers in the world absolutely tied in the championship. You just got to beat the other 3 guys out and you will become an official NASCAR champion. You're going to get yourself a NASCAR championship ring and, of course, $10,000. These are the iRacing eSport World Championships, the pinnacle of sim racing competition. You can catch it all season long, live coverage on iRacing.com/live.
Welcome then to post-race coverage of the first round of the 2017 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, where Martin Kroenke gets himself victory number 1 of his 2017 campaign. And well, Johnny, we said that Kroenke was going to be strong in terms of the championship. He's shown once again that he's here to take championship number 2.
I mean, that's a brilliant start to the season. Exactly what you want to see out of your defending world champion. Take the win as well. And he showed the same consistency he had all last season too. Not many hiccups, not many errors. They got the strategy right too. So, I mean, seamless race. Not much else to say. A boring race is a good one.
There's your top 10. One more time up on your screen. Martin Kroenke wins. Gregor Hutu 7 seconds back. Alexi Yusiakola in 3rd. Bono House. Olli Pakula. Frank Shawhorst. Michael Dinkel. Graham Carroll. Martin Piatella. And Yodi Tamada. I do want to say one thing there. I like the fact that you've got 5 Finnish drivers inside your top 10, even though they are on 3 different teams.
Well, I mean, that country is starting to take over the world. They got free braces for all kids, apparently, in the under 18. I don't know if that's true. Schooling there is great. And their racers are as talented as you'd expect. Good stuff.
Yep. Time then to get a couple of post-race comments. Let's start, first of all, with the driver who wins out. That is Martin Kroenke. Martin, it's a new year, and welcome back to Victory Lane.
Hello, and yeah, thanks.
Well, okay, so let's talk about your event here today, because, quite simply, as ever, you've been ultra consistent, started first, finished first, no hiccups along the way at all. Was it that easy in the race car?
It wasn't that easy. There were a couple of hiccups. I had a couple of moments into turn 1, locked up a couple of times, into the hairpin sometimes. Also almost spun in turn 3 once, I think around lap 15 or so. But overall, luckily our car was really good, especially in terms of tire degradation. I think especially towards later on in the run, the lap times have been pretty good compared to the cars behind. So I could manage it relatively easily, but there were still a couple of moments that I'm not entirely happy with.
Okay, but you do get the race victory, and how important for you is it to start this season with a win and really show that you are here for championship number 2?
But it is quite important. Last year, the start has been quite miserable for us, really. The first couple of races, all kinds of issues happened, and this year we want to have a championship where we're basically up there immediately. So that seems to be the case this time around, so I'm happy with that. But it is important. I mean, every point counts. Last year the title went down to the wire to the last race, and the earlier you start performing well, the better it is.
That's my final question I really wanted to ask you. Last year it did take you a couple of races to get momentum. In this season, with only 12 races, every single finish is so much more important. Moving forward, do you think that's going to be the key thing to make sure that even if you're not winning, you're getting 2nd and 3rd places?
Yeah, of course. I mean, between a win and a 2nd place, it's worst case 5 points difference, best case 4 points. So ultimately, a win is not that important as long as you still finish around the top 3 or top 5. So that is always the goal.
Before we let you go, Martin, who gets it done for you in terms of EOS Commander SimSport? The floor is yours.
Yeah, first of all, I want to thank my teammates, especially Mac and Mitchell and Marty, who have been doing really good work with the setup while I have had a little bit of a break from driving. Also, a huge thanks to our sponsors. First of all, to Virtual Racing School, and also to Huizingveld Engineering, SimQuip, and Joel Real Timing. And also, a huge thank you to Antborn Design for the beautiful liveries we got once again.
Thank you very much there, Martin Kroenke, winning round number 1 of the championship. Going to hand it over to Johnny Simone. He has stood by with Gregor Hutu, who's kind of rocking out to the background music right now.
Yeah, he loves the background music. Gregor, welcome back to the podium. Breadline was 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. Is that a positive start to the season for the team, or did you want the win instead?
I mean, yeah, a great start for the team. If you look at where we all finished, like you said. And for myself, it was a better start than last year when we had a bit of an issue with Alex in turn 1. So yeah, not too bad. Just missing a bit of pace on the long runs. I think I might have an idea what's causing that, but yeah, just couldn't hang on with the tires.
Is that problem enough to fix in the next 2 weeks? Is it? I know you're not going to reveal what the problem is, but do you have enough time to make the adjustments if needed over towards the next round in Sebring?
Yeah, we'll have time, but every track is different as well, so you just have to put in the time to find every little bit, because as you can see, half a tenth per lap can make the difference. So yeah, we'll see at Sebring. Not really my favorite track, but let's see how it goes.
Yeah, lots of bumps, and that's going to challenge a lot of these guys in the field. Final thing I got to ask you. You're only 7 seconds away from Kroenke, but could you have done something in the pit stop phase? Because you did pit a couple laps earlier than Martin. Could you have done something different with your strategy that might have helped you jump into the lead? Or were you just that far back on pace?
Yeah, it was mainly the pace. I mean, I thought about going for 2 stops actually. That might work here in some cases, but it's a short pit lane, so. But there was some traffic behind, and I think I would have been stuck in that, so really had no chance to do anything with the strategy. I was just too far back at that point, so yeah, just basic one-stop strategy, and that was it.
There you go. Gregor Hutu back to second place, our 5-time world champion, looking for a 6th one this season, Will, but he says he's got some work cut out for him over these next 2 weeks.
He has indeed, but Gregor Hutu at the same time, one of the things we've been talking about so much in this race, Johnny, is the fact that the Team Redline stable, by having that strength in numbers, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, they haven't had that really over the last couple of years. And I think that this is really going to help that team come back quickly when something isn't perfect for them.
I mean, from Kroenke's point of view anyway, this is quite scary because you've got five screaming sim racers right behind. You look at all 5 names and you look at what they've all achieved in the sim racing world. It's quite a lot, you know, and you've got some quick guys there. We'll see what happens when Mitchell Dion comes back. We talked about that before, Will, whether or not Mitchell will support Martin in his times, whether or not Marty Piatella improves his pace too. He only finished about 37 seconds here, it says on the timing sheets, away from the lead. One thing I want to quickly mention though is Gregor talked about maybe 2 stopping. We spoke about that in the broadcast. Didn't work last year, but some guys attempted it. That would have been interesting if a few guys attempted that today.
I've got a feeling that had Alexei and Hutu been on the front row, they would have tried it, because you need to be out front to make it work. You can't run the risk of doing a 2-stop strategy when you qualify 3rd, because if you can't get past in those first couple of laps, it's pretty much going to be game over for you. Olli Pakara came home in 5th place today. Well, Olli, I will say one thing. You race your teammates pretty hard.
Kawabunga.
How's the race been for you, buddy? I mean, started 12th, worked your way up 7 places, showing that qualifying isn't everything in this series.
Yeah, I mean, like, I got the stats boost and then was shouting YOLO all the time and then got some good fights and ended up in P5, so it's always nice.
Got yourself 5th place, had some fantastic battles working your way up through the field. That battle with your own teammate, Frank Schulhorst, at the end of this one, I mean, that was, I have to say, part of the event that you did on the outside into 1.
Nice, thanks. Yeah, we had some fun and yeah, I had a couple shots and I thought that let's go YOLO mode again, and I know Freak is a good driver, so it's not like stressing out, having fun, and he made a little mistake and there we are. Cool stuff.
Cool stuff indeed, getting yourself 5th place. And in terms of the fact that Redline got themselves 5 drivers in a row, what do you think that means in terms of the championship?
Yeah, we came from Vegas and here we are, performance is there. Martin is always tough man to beat, and yeah, next time I'm trying to tickle him for the Sebring, so we'll see if we can get top 5.
Nice indeed. Thank you so much, Olli there. 3rd place in this event. A couple of words and finish?
Yeah, of course. I don't know. I live in Germany nowadays, so I don't know. Can I speak Finnish? But yeah, morjesta, hyvä kisa. Hyvä kisa, ei mitään. Oltiin surkea kuoli, mutta painettiin hiileen ja noustiin ylös. Ja P5 ihan jees. 3/5. Ja terkkuja kotiin sinne Oukulle ja Nellille ja kaikille ja greetings from everyone. And thank you Fanadek and you guys. Ich spreche nicht Deutsch. Noch nicht.
Kitos there. Ollie Packard coming home in P number 5 here today. And well, Johnny, final thoughts about this event. Not just this event, but RaceSpot Race Day. It's just been a fantastic 4 hours worth of racing.
I mean, I've loved it. Support series races. I'll be there in the commentary booth next time out for all 11 of those. Couldn't make it here today, but looking forward to that. I mean, that's a great addition to not just us here at RaceSpot, but for iRacing and what these ideas that we're trying to execute and achieve. They're going out well already first time around. Good feedback for that. I'm looking forward to it. Just love it. Love the World Championship. Good first race. Wasn't something crazy. Was classy. Was nice to watch. And as I said, any aspiring sim racers didn't have to switch this race off because these guys were at the top of their game.
Yeah, indeed. I want to say a big thank you to Paul Smith and Cam Walsh for their commentary contributions then for the first leg of RaceSpot Race Day. To Rachel Whiteford and social media. To Hugo Louise does all the stuff that you'll see on Motorsport TV in a couple of weeks' time, as well as our friends over at iRacing. This was round number 1 of the 2017 iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, where Martin Kroenke stood tall once again. From Johnny Simone and myself, Will Vincent, we will talk to you all in 2 weeks at Sebring. Good afternoon.